recording. So, coaches, I just want to thank you for showing up. Good morning from the West Coast. I appreciate all you East Coast guys and Central guys and my fellow Oregon Duck there showing up. I appreciate you. So just to give you, again, to reemphasize the rules today is that I got you down here. I was going to draw things out of a hat, and I kind of had the wife show me some program on the computer that comes up with some random number. So first person is going to lead us off is going to be John Butchko, followed by Mr. Coach Loren Endsley. And so you're on deck. So the rules are you got no more than 20 minutes. No more than 20 minutes to explain, demonstrate, show, whatever on your concept. Once your time is up, we're going to leave it open for questions. So if there's any coaches that are out there that have questions, this is not a moderator or proctor style of clinic here or anything. If you have a question, unmute, ask your question, get an answer. But the thing about it is all I am going to do is ask that you keep your mic muted and don't ask any questions until unless the coach asks, is there any questions, or when he's done with his concept. With that said, I don't mind anybody, if you're throwing up chat stuff in there and everything, I'm pretty bad about looking at the chat. So again, if you have a question, we're all adults here. Go ahead and unmute and ask it. So with that said, has anybody got any questions about the rules? All right. So Coach Butchko, you're going to start off. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your concept, my man. And it's all yours, sir.
All right, my name is John Butchko. I'm the head football coach at Ashtabula Edgewood High School, which is right outside of the Cleveland area. It's my second year at the school, 15th overall. I'd been at some of the better programs in the state prior to being here, which is where this concept was really developed. But as we've gotten here outside of Cleveland, the wonderful people that run our conference just realigned. We now get a chance to face two AP number ones in two different divisions in like 2 out of 3 weeks in the middle of the season. So we're at a decided disadvantage. We have to be a little bit unique in our approach. I certainly have been at one of the schools you could line up and run the ball, push everybody over. That is just not our situation here at Edgewood. We have between 30 and 35 players, all in 9 through 12. Many of our opponents don't dress all their freshmen, and they've got 60 players. We play in the middle classification of the 7. We're in Division 4, so we're about right smack dab in the middle. We play some, our biggest division is 1. We play some in Division 3, 1 Division 2, and we don't play anybody in the conference below a Division 4. So we are playing people that are as big or bigger than us week in and week out. And again, 2 of them are voted number 1 in the AP poll. Just if it gives you any familiarity, the other stops I've been at, Canton Central Catholic, in the Hall of Fame city is my alma mater. It was my first coaching job, and it's probably one of the best 15 or 20 programs in the state. I spent a little time there, as well as Sandy Valley, who has really had a great run about the last 5 or 6 years, and that's actually where we got to our concept. Our concept that we're going to go over, and I bet I don't even take the whole 20 minutes, not because I'm not passionate about it, but I want to give you something meaningful and then get the heck out of the way and learn from what you guys are going to bring to the table today. But, we're an air raid team. I was conflicted with which of I had 2 I was thinking about doing. I picked a 2-way screen. I think it's a little more applicable if this isn't the way you go about things offensively. We have to use a screen to mask our vertical passing game, to take some of the pressure off of our run game, because we always tend to have 4, at least 3, but most snaps of the game, we have 4 people dotted all over the formation, and it's hard to get a lot of run leverage. So without any further ado, I'll bring you to our rope lasso series here. It starts off here. It's out of doubles. You could very well run it out of empty. You can motion to it. We move the tail back a lot. We do a lot of push motion from one back. It's really helped make that flat threat in some of our in some of our regular things, a little bit more pressing. You know, a lot of times tailbacks, they get beat up. They don't get out to the flat very rapidly. So we started pushing them and getting them going. We use a lot of the push motion in the red zone. We'll run a quarterback ice. You know, we'll put a wing in here and run quarterback ice. Everybody sees the tailback leave the backfield, and defensive guys just freak out. But very simply, what we do here is, if this inside most back player, we don't count the safety, inside most second level player here in a 4-2 box, a little bit kicked over, our Z is always our best athlete, so we get a lot of attention in the immediate flat right there. If we motion over here and this backer that's highlighted in red doesn't run with it, we're throwing it right to the A right now. That's the first look, and we're taking that. Just as soon as we get it, we're taking that right now. It's one-on-one here. We think we can beat the safety. We're just going to take these guys on the outside wherever they want to go. We like to hit the outside half here on the backer, have him try to slide underneath. He's going to fight over top the corner, and we've only been burned on this one time in 6 years. He came up and blooded the thing. I thought he killed our tailback. That just happened this year. The person that could mess the play up, this backer running at it in the low situation, in the low flat, hasn't messed it up ever in the 4 or 5 years we've run this. The one time we've had any trouble, it's been the corner. Our receiver came off and was pouting, probably because the ball wasn't coming his way, and he clocked our tailback. So if we get this backer running to it, that brings us to the second phase then. We're going to look at it right now. 1, 2, 3. Everybody gets a 1,001 set and goes. Our B receiver, when it is lasso, is playing his slip left rules. And I apologize. I slapped this together on Huddle, and you can get hopefully where the diagrams are going. He's got to pick up the trailer. He has to pick up the trailer. He's the only one with a rule on this play. We used to number it early on. When we did this, we would number it. We'd say, tackle, you've got number 2. Guard, you've got number 3. Center, you've got 4. Backside guard, you've got number 5. And we're going to count from the sideline and do that. What would happen is, you'd have somebody disappear. They'd blitz. They'd run. This safety might run himself out of the play, and you've got this guard chasing way back here when he could go get out in front of the play. Or we get out there, there's nobody to hit. We turn back around and look to peel somebody off. So we tell the L receiver, one hard step upfield. We want to hit -5 behind us. When we practice it, we always practice from a line to a line, so we get that nice belly here, although the diagram sucks. And we want to catch it even with where number 2 was, and we're going to try to get out here on this alley. We don't want to involve any extra backers or safeties in it that we have to, or any more than we have to. We want to bend right along this wall. Usually the right tackle, in this case, it did it backwards when I cloned the play, but this would be the left tackle. He's got to get the safety. We'll get under that and we'll split, and we're going to fight to get back outside. We tell all our guys in space, we'd rather just beat 2 guys instead of 6. The quarterback's instructed, if anything happens, like we'll get this corner. Some of the better teams that we play, he'll be uptight. This B will miss the block. Hey, we're just burning it at his feet if you're burned when you come back here, because you're really blind to it coming back. You've looked at a screen going away from you with push motion. You come back, somebody jumps it, the safety creeps down. He's going to play hard on it because we run this a lot. We just burn it right at their feet and fight another day. And I apologize again. When I cloned these, it messed up the rights and the lefts. But then you get it again here, the sister play, rope. We lock the front side tackle up. Again, it'll start with push motion, reading the front side inside. The front side inside backer, if he runs to it, we're coming back to the screen. And, we've loaded the play. We want to come back here to this backside. If we're going to take that little flare screen to the A, we're thinking 4 to 6 yards. If we come back to the R, the L receiver, in this case the R, we're thinking that's going to be a significant gain. It's going to be a first down play. We see a lot of loose cover four. I wouldn't even call it quarters. It's just a lot of four deep. So you can get underneath this pretty easily. Try to tire the linebackers out and make them go every which way but downhill. But again, we pass set 1001, and then we are running. Any tackles and ends, they sometimes will freeze, try to get in the way of the screen. We keep this off the flank of the formation for that reason. We do lock the backside tackle up just because there's nowhere for him to go. He's got to handle that end. He's going to fight with him really hard at the line of scrimmage. Really, the only play that end can make is chasing with the bubble. It's so far away back here that he would be late pursuit. We've probably done 2 or 3 things wrong if he's making a play on the front side play. Again, I know this isn't a wealth of information. It's a two-way screen. Maybe it's something similar to what you guys do. We will run this out of empty sometimes. When with a 30-man roster, you probably only have 2 tailbacks. It's a lot easier to plug somebody in a slot position. So we'll start motioning across, come back with the slip on the backhand side. It gets a little hard when you're on a hash because you like to not have the big guys running a long way. But I'll open it up for any questions. I only took about 9.5 minutes. I promised I was going to be brief today. I'll open it up for any questions if you have any.
How do you tell that play side tackle to set? Are you trying to have him set wide so he gets an inside rush? Are you jump setting him?
Are you talking about the guy that's going to be releasing?
Oh, I was talking about the left tackle in this.
The left tackle? Oh, we tell him just attack him. He's playing his bubble rules to the front side. Like you would throw the bubble screen rules. He's gonna try to take that front side, that outside shoulder very hard, and we just run down the line with him. Again, he's pretty far away from everything. We don't necessarily try to invite an upfield pass rush from that guy since it is one-on-one, and our tackles are, some of the weakest in the conference. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. We just treat it like it's a bubble screen that way for him.
Gotcha.
Coach, what else do you run with this push motion?
We run the mesh with this. We run it. We set that. We really force the issue on the front side with that mesh. We'll run a Q ISO. We'll walk the B over here, whether it's, our version of tripes or, your slot weak. We can put them either place, send the push motion, look at the bubble, and then we run the Q ice underneath it. We have off of our verticals, we have a tag package. You go 4 verts from these 4 guys. We'll send the push motion, and maybe we'll tag the L to run a shallow. We'll take him off of his vertical, so then we have the shallow coming here and the push motion, making all that happen on the alley player fast. We'll adjust then the B's rules. He's splitting these guys. He's splitting the hash and the numbers in our vertical lane. So we use the push motion from one back, probably more than a lot of people you see. We definitely use it a lot in 2 back, but we really found something we liked in 1 back. And starting a young quarterback, I thought it just helped clean his reads up in a lot of our passing game stuff.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Well, guys, if there's anything that you'd ever want to talk about, you can find me on my Facebook. This is how you spell my name. Again, I haven't, presented very much in this spot I'm at right now, but I'm always down to talk a little ball. If there's ever anything you want to talk about, trade film, whatever have you, I'll be available for that. I'm going to listen. I'm going to pause my video or my volume, and then I'll let you guys go ahead.
Right on, Coach. Appreciate it, man. Any other questions, anything like that? Make sure, use the chat, get each other's emails and contact info, stuff like that. Appreciate you, Coach. I really do, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. I only took 9 minutes, but I figured with 9 people, that's probably the video.
We're going to talk until it's done. That's what we're doing.
That's right. That's right.
That's what it's all about. So, Next up is Coach Endsley and then Coach Besaw. You are on deck. It's all yours, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for putting this together, Mike. You know, it's a awesome opportunity. You know, I just love talking ball, so anytime I get a chance to get on and talk with you guys is awesome. If you guys have any questions or if there's ways you do different things, let me know. Always open to just sharing information as much as possible. So as we get going here, I'm going to share the screen. Second. You guys see mine? Good?
Yes, sir. I see it.
Perfect. A little bit of information about me. I'm the assistant offensive line coach over at University of South Dakota. Before that, I was the offensive coordinator at Dakota Wesleyan University, NAI school out in Mitchell, South Dakota. And I do have experience as a high school head coach. So a lot of the stuff that I've ran at the high school level is just watered down versions of what I'm doing at the college level. I wouldn't say we're air raid based when I was at Dakota Wesleyan, but our passing game was very air raid based. A lot of mesh, Y cross, forwards, snag, things like that. But we were more of a RPO run based system, spread it out. And the biggest thing about the offense is that we were extremely fast. I would say we're probably the fastest team, especially in 2018 in the NAI with how we were playing. The tempo plays a huge role in what we do. Here's my contact information. At Coach Endsley 77 is my Twitter, and then email down there. Just, you know, if you guys ever need anything, you want to talk ball, you ever need film cut-ups, anything like that, just let me know, and we'll get after it. I'm going to talk about mesh. It's my favorite passing play by far. I think it does a lot for you. I think it's a great horizontal stretch. I don't think there's a play that really gives you that horizontal stretch better than mesh does. It's referred to in the air raid as 92, so I'll talk about that. If I ever talk about 92, I'm talking about mesh. I think you can also incorporate some vertical elements that'll give you a little bit of vertical stretch as well with that to complement the horizontal stretch. It is great versus zone coverage. Any kind of zone you're playing against, quarters, cover 2, 3, doesn't really matter. There's answers to everything in there. And then I think it's the perfect man beater. I think it's a built-in man beater concept. So I love running it. You know, when you talk about your full system and adding a play or incorporating a play, we are like I said, a very RPO-based run game. And what's the answer to RPOs? Cover 1, man them up, and let's go. Well, that's why mesh was our perfect pass play to complement it, because I don't really think there's maybe snag. I don't think there's a lot of plays that really give you the man beating concepts that mesh will do. It's also extremely easy to tag adjustments and variations. Very fluid, doesn't change too much for your quarterback. The amount of tags you want kind of deals with the players you're working with and what they can handle, but it's really easy to get into a ton of different variations using motion, using different things like that to make your mesh look a lot different and, you know, try to disguise, not really, we don't run a ton of plays. Like I said, we're really fast, but we disguise and dress up everything, you know, and that's big Chip Kelly fan. And, you know, that's really what he started doing is little playbook with a lot of disguises. And that's really what mesh can do for you. And then it also, depending on how in-depth you want to get with the route structures, it can allow your receivers multiple options to take advantage of any coverage you're seeing. So it really does a lot for you. So the first most important part of any mesh concept is obviously the mesh component. For us, our Y was always going to be our point, and we called our point the over player. So the over mesh was always going to be from our Y player unless a tag indicated it, and we rarely had a tag that would change that up. Every once in a while we did, but we wanted that guy to get used to being the point in the mesh. And we called him the truck, and he is running through contact. He's running through guys, and he is really what's setting the pick for the under mesh. And he's aiming that at about 5 to 6 yards or the toes of the Mike linebacker. Now the under mesh is going to come from the opposite side. Some teams will have it from their running back. We never did anything like that just because we didn't feel it was of use in our offense. But for the most side, it's going to come from the opposite side. Now that player is what we consider the Porsche, and he is just hauling as fast as he can, running to get under that truck. Okay, so as the Y is responsible for setting the point, the Porsche is responsible for the distance in between them. And if you kind of look into the air raid offense, one of the biggest things Mike Leach does with the mesh concept is as they cross, they need to be close enough to, if they stick their hand out, they should high five as they go across. And when you watch like a Washington State or any really well air raid type team that runs mesh, you'll see that on their film. And it's really the Porsche's job to make sure that that distance is accurate. And then both receivers, after they've meshed, after they've reached that point, they will have the option to settle in zone. So if you are playing a zone coverage defense, they can settle wherever the open grass is, and finding that open grass is key, and they will settle in there and get eyes on the quarterback. If they read man, they are just going to continue to run. And how we ran it was you continued straight to the sideline. Some schools will have them, once they've passed and decided it's man, they will start working gradually vertical, which is a great concept if you want to do it that way. We found that it ran too often into some of our other vertical components that we were utilizing with mesh, so we had them go straight horizontal. Now, the key to how are you teaching that receiver to read man or zone is very important. He is actually reading the opposite side player. So in this picture right here, as this receiver that would be right down here on the left is coming across and running his mesh, he's actually watching the defender over the Y. So as the Y goes and he turns, if that linebacker that's over the top of him turns hips and runs with the Y, that receiver knows it's man. Now, if that backer drops for depth, he knows it's zone. And that's really how we taught our guys how to look at it, and they got really good at this. One thing that I would just say about mesh in general, I don't think the play you need to spend just hours and hours on. If you're an air raid purist, a lot of those guys tell you that you got to run it 24/7 and you have to get a certain amount in it. I don't believe in that, but I do believe it does take a lot of time depending on how many options you give your players. To learn how to settle in space and settle in zones, it's really easy for coaches sometimes to talk about that and to draw it on a whiteboard and to talk about it in film. But the reps of your players actually executing that, it's going to take practice. It's going to take time to develop, and just make sure if you're going to run the full mesh concept, you're going to devote that time to it so that those guys can get used to it and the quarterback can get on the same page with them. And then if you guys have questions and you want to interrupt, feel free to unmute yourself, and I'm good with that. As we look at here, the first vertical component I wanted to talk about was the corner component, and that is by far the most common vertical component that's used in mesh. Now, there's multiple options on how you want to run your corner. You can just run it always as a corner. He's always taking that, and in this picture, this would be the outside receiver. You can run it as always a deep out or even a speed out if you want. You can run it as a corner option, and that's how we ran it. And essentially what we were telling our X player here is as he presses vertical here, I'm a big Dub Maddox guy. If you guys haven't read Dub Maddox's stuff, he's an awesome coach and does a really good job of explaining things. So as this X receiver presses vertical, that corner right here is either going to continue to gain vertical depth, and we call that capping the space, and in which case you're going to have your player snap and run the out right here. So as he presses, if that corner continues to cap vertical space, you snap it. If they cap it, you snap it, is kind of how we call that. Now, if that corner stays low and stays hung on you, you can just run him off with the actual corner route. And if you feel like you can beat him there, we can do that. And that is usually the quarterback's first progression, unless there's a tag that'll alter it. He's looking at that, and the basic idea behind that is if you have that corner option, take it every time. And there's been games where we just continue to call mesh, 10 to 12 times, and we just took it until the defense had to change something with it, and then we started tagging it or moving on to the next part of the progression. But if they're going to give you that, take it. Don't make it harder than it has to be. So right here, putting the whole picture together, this would be a base 2x2 mesh look right here. And I've tinkered with mesh. I've tinkered with a few things. I would say the less you tinker with this, the better. Just from experience, we had it where one side would do a straight vertical go route, and the quarterback could pick. The best way that I found to run base 2x2 is both sides running the corner options. Now, your quarterback gets to decide which side he wants to start on. And that's based on leverage, but it's also based on the quarterback's ability. I had a quarterback that could just sling it, and he could throw the field side corner route. And when you have that, it's amazing because there's so much room there for the defense to cover. And that really helped us. But I've also had quarterbacks that couldn't make the throw, so he would never start on that side corner option route. So as we look here, whatever side he starts on, let's say he starts on the left side right here, his eyes will go as if a book right here. So he'll go 1B, looking at the corner option, and then he will read the mesh as one whole. That was one of the biggest changes that I made this past season. I used to run it, he'd read the corner, then he'd read the same side mesh, then the opposite side mesh, and then the flat. I've made some adjustments, talking to some air raid guys, and now we read the full mesh as one. And we found that sped up the process completely for your quarterback. And the better plan he can have, the faster he's going to execute, and the better results you're going to have. So he'll read 1 to 2, and then 3 will be the flat. Now, the best way to run mesh, in my opinion, is a 5-man pass protection. Now, not everyone can do that. Obviously, you're going to have struggles at certain positions. Maybe your quarterback's not good at throwing hot, but it does give the most horizontal stretch. So right here, we're running a 5-man protection, having that running back get out right there, and that causes the defense to stretch more horizontally, which is always better. But if you do have to 6-man pro it, we've had to do that in the past as well. And then if he's going to start on 1A, he's just simply going to go 1A on this side and look at the corner, down to the mesh, to the flat. So it's a pretty easy read for the quarterback. Right here is just a simple tag. So this would be 92 post, or my bad, 92X post. And now all you're doing is the X is going to run a post instead of this corner option. It's really useful in red zone situations when you're getting one high structures. If you're getting a ton of cover one, it really puts that safety in a bind now, that one high safety right there, and it's a great complement to your corner route. One of the things that I forgot to mention that I probably should have was anytime you're running mesh, you need to make sure you condense your splits at the receiver. That's one of the key things to this play is condensing it to really their ability. So however much you have to do that is based on the individual receiver. We never gave really hard concrete splits to our receivers because we felt like the more concrete splits you give receivers, the slower they play, the more they're thinking, the more they're stressed about making sure that they're exactly in a certain spot. But you do need to condense it to make sure that they can get there in time. But essentially right here, you're simply just reading, it's the same thing for the quarterback. He gets to decide if he wants to start in the corner or the post. He gets to make the decision based on leverage, and that's something we go through on a weekly basis. But this is a play Washington State runs a ton in the red zone, and they hit that post quite a bit.
What's the depth, coach, of that option route on the corner if he's going to snap it? What does he try to snap it at? 10?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I've also, when I was at the high school level, we mostly ran as a speed out just because it was easier for those guys. And we saw so much cover 3 with high corners that it just worked a lot better.
So you're saying he's in the flat as a speed out or speed cut?
Like a 3-step speed out.
Okay. And would the running back, what would you do with the running back then as far as?
I would swing him a lot because,
okay.
by the time it all works out, they're not going to run on top of each other, but that is one of the adjustments. He runs a swing instead of a flat. Is it?
Same side?
Yep, same side.
Okay.
Honestly, when I was a high school coach, most time I ran at 6-man pass pro just because we needed it. and he was in on
Yeah.
a lot of times. But if we ever had that problem, that makes sense.
Yep. Thanks.
Hey, Coach, do you give those guys running the corner route a place to run to?
What?
Like we teach our corner routes to run to the backside pylon, and then if we tell the quarterback to throw him open, so we don't necessarily snap that thing off at a speed out, we just put it in the open space.
Yeah. Throw it open. Yeah. We're actually teaching it as a speed out, like make that cut right there. But yeah, the quarterback's got to throw it open, and that's the nice thing about corner routes. And like I said, when you can throw it to the field, there's so much more room to throw them open like that.
Well, if he's doing one or the other, that was my question, was what are you telling quarterbacks that they're on the same page in terms of reading it that way as opposed to
he should be reading it. So when he's
throwing
looking,
open
you're going to snap it, that corner's going high. So he should be looking there as soon as he sees that corner go high. But again, that's where if you're going to give your guys options, you have to rep it. So for every option you give your player, you're going to have to rep that so that the quarterback and receiver can get on the same page. You know, that's where if you're not going to really, lock in on mesh and that's not going to be your core play, maybe it's not a good idea to give them an option because it's just going to take that many more reps to do it.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. And then right here would just be 92X dig. Another one that Washington State runs a lot. This was our base way to run it in 2018, and this is really good. We used it whenever the backers were staying low, robbing the mesh players. So we got more of a high-low look on those backers to really force them. So if they wanted to stay low covering our mesh, we threw it over the top of them. And that dig was about 10 to 12 yards for those guys. In this concept, it wasn't like our shallow cross where we allowed them to stop and settle in zone coverages. We told them just to keep running on it. But this was just one of the variations. It does change up the progression for the quarterback in the fact that now he's forced to look at the corner first, and we'll usually put that into the boundary when we tag dig onto it. And then he'll go mesh low and then dig up top. And the nice thing about dig is that we found that it times out. If everyone's spacing is about right, and again, it's something you got to practice, the quarterback's line of vision can almost read the mesh and the dig at the same time. I mean, not exactly, but it's pretty close. So it's not a hard read for him. Wheel, this was probably my favorite variation of mesh right here. It's the one that you'll see a lot that the Rams are utilizing, but it's out of a 2x2 and your running back's going to wheel. And then that outside player now is going to run a spot route at 8 to 10 yards, and he's trying to aim over the center, and that's really crucial to pull the defense. We had a lot of trouble with it last year because that guy would get over the play side tackle. So right here in this picture, the Z would set up over the right tackle, and it would drive me nuts because then you're not really getting the spacing that you're looking for. And a lot like the dig.
2 minutes, Coach, 2 minutes.
As he reads the mesh, he's going to look right over the top of them at that spot route right there. Now, when you have the wheel, we tag this for specific reasons. It is great versus man coverage because a lot of times you're going to get a running back on a linebacker, and you can outrun that. And what we found was that linebacker was usually having to run through a lot of traffic right here between the Y coming across and the Z coming across. He had to work through a lot of that to get there, and the running back would get lost a lot of times, and it was just a good concept for us. But if the quarterback felt like he didn't like the wheel for whatever reason, based on leverage, based on the defensive structure they were showing us, he could always start back on the corner and then work corner, mesh, the spot. And then after that, it's just run. So that's probably the last one I talk about. And then I'll get to some questions. Is there any questions you guys have?
Yeah, Coach, I have one.
Yep.
Are you always meshing your Y and H, or do you ever mesh your Y and X?
Yeah, I didn't get to it, but that's a simple tag, 92X. Now the X receiver is the guy that's going to be the under mesh. Like I said, the Y was always our over, no matter if he was on the right side, left side, that didn't matter to us, 3x1 or anything like that. But we could tag the under player that was coming across there like that. And then every once in a while, I didn't get a chance to show it, we would tag it so that the essentially in a 3x1, The Y was our most inside guy, and he was running a spot, and the middle receiver was running the over mesh, and that was really good, especially against man coverage for us.
Hey, Coach, I had a quick question just on the leverage of what side of the field the quarterback starts on, your 1A, 1B. Can you explain that a little more?
Yeah, for sure. So he gets to decide what side he wants to start on. And again, that goes to his arm talent and the coverage and leverage. So if, let's say, everything's equal and you're in the middle of the field, which you never are, but one side of the corner is playing inside leverage, that's a way better opportunity, and maybe high inside leverage. That's a way better opportunity for a snap deep out that you can throw. So he'll start on that side and then move to the mesh and then move to the flat like that. Also, if you're talking about now the field, some quarterbacks can't make that throw. And I would say most high school quarterbacks can't make the throw. Most college quarterbacks that I've dealt with can't make that throw. So that would impact that a lot.
Okay. And can you also show us that 3x1 by any chance before you get off?
Sure. So this is our base 3x1. And now you're going one to the corner or one to the wheel based on leverage and what we've talked about that week. And then you're going mesh to the spot. So you're going 1, 2, 3, just like that, with that spot right over the top of it. Makes for a nice look for the quarterback. So that's the base one that we do. And then flip for us right here is just taking that Y receiver. And we really like this against man coverage because you can get a natural rub. Now he's running the spot and the H is running right off of him. So you're getting a natural rub right here with the concept, and you're changing up who's the player setting the mesh every time, which I don't think is a huge thing, but if you wanted to change up who was the over mesh, you could. Any other questions I didn't get to, guys? All right, thanks for listening. And if you guys have anything on mesh or anything in general, just let me know.
Coach Endsley, man, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. And just to let you all know, Coach Endsley's now got a, I think it's a Facebook page and a YouTube channel. Was it a Spread and Shred?
Yep.
And he's also got, 4 or 5 of his concepts and O-line play on CoachTube. Get a chance to check that out as well. Appreciate you again, Coach. Coach Besaw and Coach Morrison, if you're still on here, you are on deck. It's all yours, sir.
Sweet. Thanks, Mike, for having me. Good to see everyone. And I'm Alex Besaw. I was born and raised in Eugene, Oregon, and moved to Salinas, California about 6 years ago. And I've been OC at one of the high schools here. I was OC for about 6 years and kind of took over as the OC a team that was split back veer and probably threw the ball 3 times a game. And when I first arrived, they'd never been in shotgun before. And so it was a culture shock to me to learn that system. And then once I was able to, become OC and be able to have the freedom to do what I want, I did what I knew, and that was the Chip Kelly's kind of spread option offense. So shotgun trick play. I was OC for a school here in Salinas for about 6 years, and then moved over to the rival private school about 3 years ago. And then this will be the first year as my OC, being the OC there, taking over a 21 personnel team who's basically your Stanford. And so we're going to be doing more of the spread stuff with the spread option RPO. Big part of what I do on offense is heavy inside zone read, and probably on every single run scheme, I am tagging a quick pass concept to my run scheme. And reason being is because I always want to give my quarterback the option to go somewhere with the football if the defense is either loading the box or folding players to the box. I want to give my quarterback the out to be able to take advantage of hitting them on the perimeter. And then likewise, if they're out in coverage and they empty the box for us, then we need to have an out and an answer and be able to run the football. So that's really kind of what I do. It's very simple. We're up-tempo, no-huddle offense. And so I keep things really simple by tagging quick pass with run game. And then today I'm going to talk to you about kind of single back power RPO with some built-in tags and what that looks like. So I apologize if you've seen it before. I have a Facebook group as well and a YouTube channel. And I have an ebook out on this right now. So sorry if you've already seen this. It's actually going to be a little bit different than what I explained before. So I'll go over that right now and kind of share with you guys exactly how I build this in. So can you guys see my screen?
Yep. See it.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So for us, 10 personnel, and we'll be even front. Hopefully I have enough time to get to an odd front and show you what that's like. But this is single back power, RPO concept, as well as a pre-snap tag, quick pass for the quarterback. We don't call this power when we're in 10 personnel. We actually call it dart because, one, we don't have tackle dart in our offense. And so really what dart tells our linemen is that there's 5 guys blocking in this scheme, and our front side of the play is going to have to base block it. When we say power, then we know we're going to be in 11 personnel. We're going to kick out the end with our tight end, and then we're going to get the double team. So really the terminology that we use is just to differentiate between the two blocking schemes and make it easier for our guys up front to know when to double and when to base it. So for this example here, we're going to go dart to the left. And so on the front side with our left tackle and left guard, they're going to base block this. So if we have an even front with a 3 technique, we are going to have our left guard take on that 3 technique. And then what we tell our guard is that we have to keep that defensive tackle in the gap that he starts with. So if he's in a 3 technique, then we have to do the best that we can to keep him in that B gap so we can create a bubble for our backside guard who's going to be pulling. Obviously, if they do stunts or we don't own it and he's able to get into the A gap, then we got to do our best to get on his hip pocket and just kind of wash him down, and our backside guard's going to have to adjust to that. But here, if he's in a 3 technique, then our guard's going to make a call down the line of scrimmage to alert the backside guard. So this would be a long call. And I think back when we were doing it at the old school, we were saying donger, kind of like long dong. So that would tell the backside guard, he would make a short call here, but he would say short, a buzzword for short and a buzzword for long. And that would kind of alert the backside guard exactly what kind of path he's going to need to be able to get to that play side backer. So he'd make a short call here for the backside guard. Our center is going to block down. We're going to gap scheme this here, and he's going to block down on the 2-eye. And then our backside guard, he gets a short call here, so he knows he's going to wrap, pull through that A gap for the play side backer. And then our backside tackle, he's going to step hinge, and he's going to make sure no one enters that B gap there. Okay, so we have 5 guys in the box, 5 guys blocking. They have 6 guys in the box. So for us, we're going to read the backside backer. Okay. When we face in front, we're always reading the second linebacker from the play side. And we're talking about linebacker that begins in the box. So if this is the box here, we're reading the second linebacker from the play side. So he's going to be 1, he's going to be 2. So that's how we read this in the RPO concept. And then on the right side here, this is our RPO concept. So this is the RPO side. And the reason being, obviously, if we're going left, our quarterback's chest is going to be open to the field on this side. So his eyes are going to be over there. So this is our RPO concept side, our post read. And then this is our pre-snap read, or kind of, most coaches say like the access throw. So this is a pre-snap on the left side, post-snap on the right. Now, I have this built in with the concept. I don't tag quick game stuff because I have rules for my tags. If we were to, tag quick game with inside zone read, there's certain rules on how those tags come in. So I don't tag it because then I would break those rules. And so these are just going to be built in, and we keep it really simple, and we'll just run bubble with number 2 receiver here. So pre-snap read, quarterback gets to the line of scrimmage. Obviously if they're in this 6-man box with the 2 high safety, they can only put 1 overhang to one side. And so if the quarterback likes the bubble, then obviously in this example, he'd throw the bubble, wouldn't even consider running the dart to the other side in the RPO concept. So we would just take that until they make an adjustment, whether they widen a backer out, they roll the safety down, they press up that corner on the X real tight to try to jam that up. And then at the end of the day, it's the quarterback's decision. If he doesn't like it, he doesn't have to throw it. And then at that point, if he says the access throw is dead, then he's going to go to his post snap read, which is going to be the RPO side. So we're going to go dart to the left. Our back, for us, we keep things, again, simple, and we try to have the same thing kind of apply to most of what we're doing in the backfield. And so for this our footwork here is just like inside zone read, and he's just going to follow the path of the guard. And also our backs can identify where this guy is. If it's a 3 tech, then obviously no, he's going to anticipate that A gap being there. If it's 2I, then most likely it's going to go through the B gap. But for the footwork, it's real similar to inside zone read, which is, about probably 75% of what we do. And then the read for the quarterback is going to be this linebacker here. That's his post snap read. The routes on the RPO concept side is we're going to use our number 2 receiver. We're going to put him on a snag route or a spot route, if you will, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter to me. But really, he's going to be 1 yard behind that linebacker. And we got to have him at least 1 yard. I don't want him any further than 1 yard or have him start drifting once he settles. He's got to settle and squat right there in the window. If he starts drifting, then what happens is he starts drifting into those safeties, and they're able to come down and make a play on that, and he just closes his own window. And obviously we have to get on top of that linebacker and occupy that space, because the whole point of this is to put that linebacker in conflict and make him be in 2 spots at once. So we have to make him feel responsible for the pass and then also the run. And then on the backside with Z, we're going to send him on a fin route. So he's going to have 5 yards. He's going to run 5 yards and in. And that will come into play with the quarterback's reads. And really it's for this overhang defender. So as far as the reads go, with the quarterback, he's going to post snap, catch the football, put the ball at the mesh point, and he's going to get his eyes on his linebacker. Now, obviously, if the linebacker, if he pedals or if he widens to try to wall off number 2 as he's getting vertical, then for us, that's a give. He's not triggering on the mesh, and we're going to give the football to our running back going, dart to the left. Even if he's in the box, just hesitates a little bit, for us, that's a give. With him being unblocked, trying to come from the backside and not pursuing the football right away, if we can block this thing up the right way on the front side of this, then if he does make a tackle, then we hope that it's 6, 7, 10 yards down the field. If the linebacker triggers in any way, we get to the mesh point and he's downhill to fill a gap, or he's going to cross the face of the center, then what he's done is he's opened up this window for us to throw that spot route. So when the quarterback gets the read to rip the ball to the belly of the back, because the linebacker is downhill, then what he's going to do is he's just going to quickly glance at this overhang defender. And we have to know what he's doing, because he can really screw this play up for us as well. If number 2 gets inside release and he squeezes this route down, or he gets his hand on number 2 and really takes away this spot route for us, and he's just real physical with us and we're not able to get to our landmark, he rides that a little bit longer than what we're hoping for, then our quarterback's going to throw that fin route that's right behind him. So by taking away this route here from our slot receiver, he's really opened up the window behind him. And that's why we have that built in to come in behind, because if he takes away this route and we don't have another option, well, then we're screwed. Our quarterback's going to have to end up, running the football and probably, following his back with dart. So we also want to have an answer for this. Now, if this overhang here, if he pedals or if he widens or tries to rob number 1, then there's a clear window and we're just going to throw that ball right there to Y on the spot route.
Which makes sense.
So, yeah.
Do you ever have any issues with that RPO read you're trying to do on the backside with the Y? Do you have any issues with that linebacker just freezing or not giving you a clear read? What do you do to do that? Or what do you
linebacker here?
Yes, sir. What do you tell your quarterback in that situation if he just freezes or if that read's muddy or he's confused at all? Yeah,
I tell my quarterbacks, when in doubt, hand it off.
Okay.
So I don't want them to kind of overthink this and to try to make a play if it's not there. If there any question to what that linebacker's doing, then hand the ball off. And I'd rather have exactly. I'd rather have a 1 yard loss than our quarterback trying to get cute, make a play, or just be confused and unsure of himself and make a throw, and we end up throwing an interception and turning the ball over. So I can live with that.
Coach, how much freedom do you give your quarterback in a game situation with you're just trying to pin the backside linebacker? For me in college or high school, if we saw that the money, we call him Viper, if we see that he's kind of being annoying, like you said, he's shoving him inside too much, or he's playing man, all we do is just say, hey, forget the belly at 1 or a belly A, just motion him across and run option away, and we'll get the extra man on the end. Do you give your quarterback that freedom, or do you just say, hey, we're going to hit the linebacker this time and we'll come back to the Viper?
Yeah, I don't really let my quarterback have that much freedom in game where he can kind of bring that guy in motion and essentially kind of change it up a little bit. For me, those are things that I'd be looking for. And if I see something like that from the defense, and then obviously communicating with the quarterback in game, that would be an adjustment that I would make as a play caller in the game. So our quarterback has a lot of freedom as it is by making these access throws and post snap RPOs. And when we tag our quick game, I try not to put a whole lot more on his plate as far as making checks at the line and doing all that stuff. So that's something that I kind of put on my shoulders as a play caller. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah,
no problem. So this is how we would do it with a 2x2 structure. And again, this is the access side. So the side that is on the back, I guess, with where the quarterback's chest is not going to be post snap. And then we can also get into 3x1. So I'll just bring A over here. And for the most part, this is really going to stay the same. And that's why this is nice, because when you're talking about kind of like what Coach Endsley said, anything that you give your guys options with, you got to get those reps in practice. And so I've been places where coaches are giving their guys tons of options and they practice it 3 times and then they're pissed off at their players that they can't do it in a game. It's like, well, they're like, well, we practiced it. But you have to rep this out day in and day out, and it's all about building that muscle memory. And so for whatever option that you give your kids, you got to make sure you're dedicating enough time that they're able to master it in practice. That way it can translate to the game. So the 3x1 look here, it's the same thing. And again, that's why I like it. We can get plenty of reps at pretty much doing the same thing with different formations. This is just another way that we're gonna get to this. So same thing here. When we're, I see there's comments here. Sorry, I don't know if you guys are commenting or asking questions. If you are, just unmute yourself and fire away.
Sorry, Coach. I was trying. My kids are screaming in the background, so I was trying
to
hear up to you. I was going to ask, have you ever? I know you run the dig, and I really like that concept. If the safety makes the tackle on your little inside route, have you ever come back a little pyramid, run the post over top of him with the outside receiver in your?
Yeah, and that would be an adjustment that I would make if they're going to get really aggressive with their safeties. Then we would tag something where now we would say, this for us would just be 15 dart. But if we wanted that post over the top, we would say 15 dart Z post or something like that to where we get over the safety. And now we're reading that third level defender. And we also have RPOs built in for 11 person where we're reading those safeties. So we would probably get to that too if we see safeties being overly aggressive. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, perfect, Coach. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no problem.
Just under 5 minutes there, Coach Besaw.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. Okay, so 3x1 concept here. We're going to keep the same thing on the access here. Number 1, too high safety. I don't love running the slant. So if we're looking at a team that's going to play a lot of too high against us, we'll either run this as like a 5-yard out, speed out for us. It's a speed cut. And, he can run a speed cut or a hitch, or we'll send him on a go route. Single high safety, what we get a lot of the time when we get single high safeties, which I don't anymore, hardly ever, but single high safety, this guy would probably be somewhere in the box where that window's opened up, and this safety would be shaded. And the access throw for us at that point would be, we'd actually make it 3-step. It's not going to be 5. We make it 3-step skinny, try to get inside release. And that would be the access throw for our quarterback at that point when we get to 3x1. We always try to take advantage because this is a big window whenever we get single high safety. That's one of the main things that we try to hit is the backside, that kind of skinny post there. So access side is still here on the single receiver. You can have any quick game that you want, build it in however you want. All we say is 15 dart, like in that 2x2 structure, and we know the access side is the bubble route. Okay. When we get into a 3-by-1 situation, these two routes actually stay the same. And we kind of use A as a decoy to try to pull this overhang away. So here's maybe another adjustment for you. If you are seeing this overhang defender, if he's split in 2 and 3, in the 2-by-2 structure, if he is causing your number 2 receiver a hard time and you're really not able to get a clear read or clear route on this, then you can get into a 3-by-1, and then you can use your A and you can send him on a bubble and get width. Now, this works for us because it doesn't take much film to watch on what I do. Is I have a lot of bubbles built into probably everything. And so everyone knows bubble is a big part of our game, but I also have counters to that with RPOs and double moves and whatnot. But when teams see us run bubble, we get their attention right away. And so this might help you out if you are, struggling with this overhang defender. And really, he's used as a decoy now. We're not going to throw the bubble, but the whole purpose of this route here, he's kind of sacrificing himself, is to be able to pull this overhang away from the number 3 receiver. And again, it's going to be the same read. If the linebacker triggers and gets downhill, then he's going to rip, and really he's going to throw that spot route probably 9 times out of 10, if not every single time. So that's kind of our adjustment to that overhang defender causing us fits in a 2-by-2 structure. I could draw it up in odd front, but I probably wouldn't have enough time. It'd probably take me too long to get to that. I'm pretty slow on this thing. So I think I'll leave it at that. And hopefully I didn't go too fast. Sometimes 20 minutes kind of creeps up on you. So if you guys have any more questions, I'd be happy to do my best to answer them.
Coach, is that a quick game concept for you at a 3-by-1? That last concept you drew up with the spot, bubble, and fin round, is that something you teach them, or do you have to tag each receiver in that situation? For that example that I just showed you right there,
a 3-by-1, yes sir. If we get into 3-by-1 and we call a 15 dart, that's built in.
Okay, that's okay.
Two knows he's bubbling, 1 knows he's on the fin, 3 knows he's running the spot, and then we could dictate what we want as far as the access throw. That could be an adjustment on the sideline where we say, okay, let's, they're giving us this look, let's run hitch. Corner's off, he's playing real soft. Let's make it a hitch next time we go out.
Okay, so your base install would be that concept to the 3-by-1 side.
Yes.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah. Yep.
So those guys just have to know that that's the play whenever you go to that in a different formation.
Yeah, 2-by-2 structure. You're gonna have RP. Sorry, what was that?
So that when you go to 3-by-1, that A has to know that now he's the replace guy.
Yep. Your number 2, his whole job is to try to pull that overhang away from the number 3 receiver. And then again, everything's built in. So you have RPO concept side. If you're going to the left, RPO's on the left. Your access throws are on the right. Single high safety. A lot of people love the smash fade or the slot fade. I've seen a lot of that too. You can run slot fade from the slot. Hitch underneath. You can make any type of quick game that you want. I found I don't really care throwing the ball downfield with guys blocking downfield. I think I've been called on it like 3 times. It's kind of like pass interference. I mean, they can call pass interference probably on every single play, but they're not going to. So that's my thoughts on RPOs. It's like, yeah, go ahead, call us for a legal man downfield, do it 4 times in a row, but they won't. So that's kind of my philosophy on that.
Right on.
If you guys have, thank you. And again, if you guys have any questions, I'm probably gonna have to leave here soon. I got my 3-year-old, but I also, like Mike, got a Facebook group. It's the Spread Offense. He's always posting in there. I'm kind of posting in his group there too. And then also a YouTube channel. And then, so if you have any questions, just, reach out to the Facebook group, either Mike's or mine, and I'd be happy to help you guys out any further.
Right on, man.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, go Ducks. All right.
Yeah, go Ducks.
All right. Hey, Coach Morrison, if you're still on here, you're up, sir. And then Coach Ramsey, you're on deck, sir.
I'm on here, ready to roll. I'm going to share my screen on my device. When I share, I can't see your guys' video anymore. So if you do have questions, don't put in the chat. Hopefully you guys can all see my screen now. I'm on a full screen. All right, so I'm Coach Morrison. I'm the head coach, Westville Central High School. I'm also the offensive coordinator. Instead of doing specific plays, what I'm going to do is talk about how we call our offense. I know video sucks on Zoom. I'm going to try to share a little bit of video with you. So email me if you want it. I have no problem sending this stuff to you on Huddle. All right, so The way we do it is we are as fast as humanly possible on offense. We are a melt-your-face type of offense. So a couple things to keep in mind is your entire staff on board. They better be, or your life's going to be miserable, or you're going to have to fire some people, okay? Do you have depth to do it? We're lucky. Our current roster is at about 120 kids, 9 through 12. We just counted yesterday, so we have lots of depth, especially at O and D lines, so we can do this stuff. And then, are you willing to practice / live it? One of the mantras in our program is fast, don't lie. The kids picked it, and like they embrace the idea of being fast. Also, are you going to practice it? So you're probably going to have to film practice, go back and evaluate, and you have to kind of change. So like on our practice plan, for instance, it has little symbols next to it. So we have sessions where we are stop it and coach it up. We have other ones where you're allowed to stop it if it is an emergency, right? Like you have to address the issue. And then we have other sessions where it's get off the field and we are rolling and you better yell something quick to the kids or sub in if you need to talk to them, okay? So that's perfect plays. Lots of plays on air, just rolling through it. And then how do you want to use the change of pace? We call them pace plays. You know, do you want to change it up? Is it situational? You get a big 50-yard gain. They're trying to sub kids out into half, into game. Or are you going to live it? And we've decided this year we're actually going to live it. This presentation that I'm sharing with you, many parts of it are things that we share with our kids as well. So this was the year where our team completely embraced and lived it. And if you're going to be fast and you're going to try to melt people's faces off, you also have to set the tone very, very quickly. So we feel like if we give a team the ball and they get to roll some 15-play series, and next thing you know, 8 minutes has gone in the first half, we hate it, right? So we take the ball and we try to score as fast as we can. So one year when we were really good at this, this couple years ago, 7 games we scored on the first drive. So nice thing is everyone declines, right? They are defer to a second half. Well, you tell your kids, go take the ball. And even if you lose, you get the ball anyways. And then you go as fast as you can, you score. And if you don't score on that first drive, then, you know, sometimes your kids are like, oh no, what happened? But, you know, that's the lifestyle that we live. So when we build these plays and we build these concepts, right, this idea of concepts is we have a really, really complex play that we want to build stuff off of. And we want to have it be as multiple as possible too. So like, for instance, tight east trips, bunch left, inside zone left, read, rain, or even our trick plays have all evolved into these one-word plays for us. So ying right slot, empty, wide jet, outside zone right, pass back, pit is one of our pass plays. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those really long calls or plays that have a whole lot of stuff going on, and we're going to simplify it down into one call. Okay, so things you have to do to protect it. You have to have a cadence to protect it. You have to have formation adjustments to protect it, motion, play action, trick plays, and it goes. So let me talk through the cadence one. So I just pulled one of our simplest concepts. This is the one we're going to install on day one. There's nothing revolutionary here. I think everyone does this. Free access hitch, very similar to what Coach Besaw was just talking about, except we're going to zone it instead of power it. All right, so we're going to go full zone left in our terminology. Quarterback's going to read the end, or he's going to throw a bubble, right? So we got hitch and bubble pre-snap. Then we have give, quarterback run, throw the bubble post-snap. So for us, this play has one word to it. And what we do is we pick words that indicate speed. So our kids know when they hear one of these speed words, we're going to run as fast as we can to the line, and we're going to snap the ball as fast as humanly possible. So like my goal in every scrimmage is to have officials come tell us to slow down. And we tell our kids that it's like a point of pride. In fact, when the official jogs over and he says, hey, coach, you got to slow it down, my kids almost start like laughing, right? It's like a point of emphasis in our program. So when we do this, right, I just have it called one. I don't want to share what our calls are because we scream them at our games. I don't really want people to know what they are. But sample words that we've used in the past: hurricane, cyclone, Porsche, Lexus, Ferrari, Lambo, anything that indicates speed and like intensity here. Okay. So our kids, if they see one single signal, they line up and they do this. And then we have an opposite call for it too. So we're just going to call this play 1 and we're going to see play 2. So if our quarterback sees the signal for this, everyone sees it. Everyone on our offense sees the signal. We don't verbalize most of the time to the O-line unless we're doing a check, just because we found it slows us down. So our quarterback in this situation, he sees the signal. He's going to start yelling 1-1-1, and then he's going to start his cadence. Okay, we switched to a rhythmic cadence a year ago because so many teams were trying to slow us down by simulating our snap count, or every time we would go in motion, because we are a big jet sweep team, every time we go in motion, the defense would yell go or hit to try and simulate our cadence, and it was causing our guys to jump offside. So we went to a rhythmic cadence. So our quarterback would say 1-1-1-1, and they'd say blue 50 set hit. All right, maybe a little slower than that. But the thing is, he never stops talking. Right, 1-1-1, pause, then blue 50 set hit. So for us, that's our normal cadence because it gives the center a little bit longer to find it. And a lot of people are going to say, well, can't the defense? Yes, okay, so we will also freeze. Right? Well, when we freeze, our guys see the freeze signal and they're going to yell 1-1-1-1-1, and they're going to sprint to the ball and they're going to yell blue 50 set hit, and defensive linemen just basically walk off sides over and over and over again. So you have to have a cadence to protect it. Okay. And we don't just do this with this play. Some years we'll carry as many as 6 of these. Some years we carry 2, okay? And I'll kind of roll through some different ones here, but I wanted to really dive into one for us, okay? So if this is your base concept, okay, and I said you have to do all these things to protect it, okay? So formationally, so some different things that we'll do is we'll bunch it. Right, so we'll signal bunch one, okay, and all they're doing, the wide receivers are sprinting to their spots, and we're yelling 1-1-1-1-1, blue set hit, and we're snapped. Okay, we can add a bunch of different formation tags to it if we want to, but again, the base structure of the concept is all still there. We're just adding window dressing. Here's an example of how we call stack, and Z should be on the line there. I apologize, not drawn well. All right, we just tuck our S back in here when we call stack. So stack one, right? And then they go. All right, tight is another one that we use sometimes. And this guy, our Y is normally our tight end if we're going to jump into some different stuff. Obviously, you could structure that however you want. But what we found is if we brought the Y over here and sent the X over here, we were being slowed down. So what we said is, listen, we're not going to run this very often, but you got to block on bubble. So sprint your ass in there and you can block inside zone for these guys, especially if it's an interior run play, because it very, very rarely gets out that wide anyways. Okay, so motion, we call this rip motion. Okay, so we take that guy that's going to run the bubble, and we're going to send him in the backfield, and we're going to bring him across, okay? So our guys would get 2 signals in this. They would get the rip 1 signal, and our quarterback's going to say 1-1-1-1-1, all right? He's going to point to our S. He's going to start out, and once he crosses the center, he's going to start his, rep 50 set hit. And we have not had any problems since we've gotten to this rhythmic cadence. Obviously, if you wanted to do push motion or you wanted to do something else, you could. I mean, you can do whatever you want. Sit motion. One thing that we have added that we thought was pretty good recently is we've added shifts into this. So what we'll do is we'll line up in some formation that we know gives them problems or we know they check for, and then we yell shift, shift, shift. And then we just jump into a base trips, right? So again, it's just a little bit change up, okay? All right, so you have to have a play action to protect it. And just like Alex was talking about, what happens here when we run bubble, this rover, viper, whatever the hell you want to call him, he's going to start flowing down. So now who can stop this, right? That safety that's going to drive down. So we very, very quickly now, and again, our quarterback is going to the line yelling 1-1-1-1-1. Now we've given the indicator that we're going to do a play action pass off of it. So it's 2 signals, and our guys know it. Our offensive line, essentially, the only switch for them is they are now going to base or lock on the backside. So we're going to walk up, we're 1-1-1, blue 50 set hit, and we snap the ball. And our quarterback knows if we call this play action, it's because this rover is starting to kick the Y's butt when we run bubble. So now this guy's going to be here. And he also knows that if we are in a quarters look, right, and we start seeing this safety flash into the screen, this post behind it is going to be wide open. So essentially we get a nice high-low read on a quarter safety. We give a nice little flash fake, and we take it. Here's another sample, just a snag concept. We'll use this off of it as well. It just kind of depends on what type of receivers you have, and we can keep the corner or the post. It just depends on the teams we play. So we look at it on film. When there's a bubble, does the corner drive down? If the corner is going to drive down, we'll have the corner that week, corner route. If the corner stays high and we're getting McCour's look and he's driving down, then we'll take the post behind it. All right, we also add some trick plays to this because, again, you have to protect this because line up in trips, running zone, and throwing a bubble. There's nothing revolutionary there, but you have to protect your concept. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll add a double pass, we throw the bubble, and then he's going to throw to the back. We also have what we call goes off of it. So, again, all they're seeing is 1-1-1, we give the go tag. So now we're going to get this nice fake. We're going to pump like we're throwing the bubble. These guys are going to stock, and they're going to burst. We also have a hitch and go on the backside. So what do a lot of teams do to us because we're a RPO high-tempo team? They're going to say, hey, we're just going to play straight man and, make their receivers beat us. Great. We'll do that. So if he sees man coverage and this free safety is cheated over and no help over top, he'll flash, put his eyes over there. What happens now, this free safety in cover 1 is going to begin to flow over the top, and then he's going to turn backside, and we've hit a lot of touchdowns on this route back here, okay? All right. So, again, the video sucks on Zoom. If it's a complete disaster, I apologize. So, and I hid this. So some of you may say, I don't have a running quarterback. Great. You don't have to have a running quarterback to do this. So for us, this is another one of our one-word RPOs. And what I tried to do is pull almost everything from a single game. So this blue opponent here, you'll see them almost the entire time here. So you see this isn't just clinic talk. This is how we live inside of a football game, okay? So with us here, it's going to be a stick, bubble. This guy's job is to stock, and we have outside zone here. And I mentioned like receivers, right? This dude's an X. He is not a tight end. You can tell he is very small, okay? All right, so I'm going to play this here. Outside zone, right? Because that linebacker hesitated. So if this linebacker slow plays this at all, then we go. All right, he probably could have handed it off, but we won't worry about that.
Coach,
right.
Coach Ramsey said if you play this in slow motion on huddle, it appears better to most of the guys.
How do I go slow motion? Just me doing it slow? Like, is there a function or you mean?
Nope, you got to press it next to the play button. Just press this.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll try that. Okay, thank you. All right, so here you go. Same thing. So here, I'll go back to that last in case you guys see it. All right, so if we are going slow, there you go. So there we hit our outside zone. Okay, we make a good cut. All right, now we go to the next one here. All right, so same play, same concept. That and the linebacker hesitated, went out. We take that stick right over top of it. Our stick probably gets a little bit too deep there. His job on this route is to clear the linebacker and settle. Clear and settle. If we're going against a better safety, he probably does not catch that, or he gets lit up as he catches it. Okay, next phase of this is going to be the bubble. And again, you can see this is the same defense that we're going against. I love this clip. I use this clip to teach my quarterbacks all the time, because quarterbacks now, what do? They spend 1 million hours with their private quarterback coach, and they want to look beautiful and picturesque every time they throw a football. Yeah, that's crap. If you're going to play in an RPO offense, I want a freaking gunslinger. Like, I want a dude that can throw the ball from his kneecap if he has to. Okay, he's not going to get over the top and tricep extension, all that stuff. So watch my guy's feet on this play. Watch his feet in order to get it out. I mean, that's just being a gunslinger. If you can't do that, you can't play in our offense. All right, next one here. Sorry. All right, this one, is a different opponent. Same concept, though, just kind of a different view. I probably would have thrown the bubble there. Sorry, that clip kind of snuck in there. All right, there we go. All right, so this is a different pace play set that we use. So we hop into empty. It's going to be very similar. These things kind of build off of each other. So again, they've just gotten a single word play here. We have the stick concept. We have quarterback draw on the inside, and then we have a bubble concept out here. Okay. All right. Or sorry, we have a vertical slant concept on the bottom here. Sorry, I said that wrong. All right. So again, there you go. He decided he clear. I probably would have thrown the bubble. But again, if you're going to have a gunslinger and you're going to trust your quarterback to do these things, you can't question him too much, especially when he hits a completion for a touchdown. He saw something, right? And you have to respect that, and you got to let him be the gunslinger. Because if you slow him down and you make him start thinking too much, he's going to question his decision, and he's going to take a little zip off of his football here. All right.
Can you go back one play, Coach?
Yep.
Can someone sign the referee? Look at this boy.
There you go. I mean, he ain't as fast as my guy, but good. All right. Okay. So this one, same concept. This time the quarterback decides to take the run off of it, and he falls down flat on his face. All right. So you can see, though, he's looking at this linebacker right here. That's the one he's decided that he really wants to read instead of going down here to the field. So he sees retreat, so they automatically turn it into a 5-man box. Now, we don't get a great block in the interior, so because of that, the play kind of dies, but that's all right. But again, you guys can see the concept. We all know plays don't always work perfectly. This is not meant to look like a clinic tape. It's meant to look like real tape here, okay? So, again, there you go. Same thing. All right, hit the bubble. Wide receivers out there blocking. Good job, okay?
Coach Endsley asked in the chat, how often
Yeah.
do you work on those mechanics? Do you ever read frontside RPO, especially working with a right-handed QB?
Yeah, we do frontside RPOs all the time. As far as mechanics with our quarterbacks, so my favorite drill to do, I don't coach quarterbacks anymore, but what I used to do is I would take 5 footballs, okay, and I would be on a knee, and I put another quarterback out there where you would catch a bubble, right? And I'm going to give them 5 footballs, and all 5 of the snaps are going to be in different locations, right? So one of them is going to be at his left shoulder. One's going to be at his right shoulder. One, I'm going to bounce off the ground to him. Another one, I'm going to say hike, and I'm just going to set the ball on the ground. You know what that simulates? Your center not realizing that you're in shotgun, and he just snaps the ball to his own nuts, right? And we've all seen that happen, okay? So my quarterbacks are trained to perform and throw RPOs under chaos, right? So we do that, and then every once in a while I throw in a wet football, and I will, throw that at them. The other thing I'll do is I'll chuck it over their head, right? We create chaos. No good snaps and drills. I don't think that's realistic. And then when they do get good snaps, life is, glorious here. All right. So again, this was another one of our RPOs or pace plays because this dude could run. So imagine as a defense, you get bunch out here, you get a double tight structure in the box, and you have this guy, right? All right, so whole lot of stuff. So we had a draw with a bubble concept.
Coach.
I got a minute and a half.
Your clock is slow.
Dang it.
Talk
Stop.
fast, but your clock
All right, here. All right, I'm going to jump. I love trick plays here. All right, here's another one. All right, so
15-yard penalty, coach. That's a delay of game.
shut up. All right, so trick plays real quick. Let me make sure I get to these. So all of our trick plays have come off this. Trick plays are not great. I'm going to roll through these pretty quickly. But here's one of our go concepts. Doesn't work great. All right, so we're going to be here. We're going to flash, pump the bubble, and the go. They play it. Now, our second guy should have been an intermediate route there, so not great. So this play right here is the eagle. Oops. All right, so again, we've turned all of our trick plays into one-word things, come up with goofy stuff. Ironically, that play right there is the first play of every JV football game for the last 7 years in our program. Our kids love it. It's like a rite of passage to get to run that. They don't always work well. Here's one of our quick formations. Okay, so we're going to throw a quick. We get a shitty block, but watch my receiver running wide open. Oh, my gosh. Get my man the ball. All right. Okay, next one here. You don't want to see it from that view. All right. Here you go. Sometimes bad stuff happens. Throw the ball. Throw the ball. Why are you waiting? Throw the ball. Backside corner with the pick. Never good, right? But that's right. These trick plays, they hold people. They keep them honest. I got 2 more plays, and I think I got 20 seconds here. So, all right, so here you go. Real simple. It's one of our outside zones. Little stock, release, go, one-on-one block. We all know, right, big plays are the name of high school football, so we try to create them as much as we can. All right, so we got a little jet motion, outside zone, pass back to the quarterback, stock and go on the outside. Wide open. All right, I'm done. Like I said, I'll put this screen back up there. All right, please reach out to me. I know the video sometimes isn't great on this, and I will shut up and let whoever else go next.
Coach Morrison, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I think you gave a 2-hour clinic in just 20 minutes. So you coach just about as fast as it's your pace, man. I love it. I love it.
It's a lifestyle, man. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. What's your motto there? Was it fast is easy or something like that? Is that what you said? Or fast?
Listen, don't disrespect the mantra. It's fast, don't lie. Fast don't lie. Listen, we got wristbands, we got shirts. Our track team actually stole it from me. Okay. So, yeah, whatever. Fast don't lie.
Hey, I'll take a hat. Fast don't lie. I like it.
Thanks, Coach Morrison. I look forward to meeting you in Ohio sometime.
OH.
All right. That's right. So Coach Ramsey's up, and then followed by Coach Kent. So Coach Kent is on deck. Coach Ramsey, if you're still here. Oh, yeah, there you are. I see you. It's all yours, sir.
Awesome. It's great to be here. Want to talk about I've been coaching for 21 years. Coached in college the first year I was out, and I've been coaching in Texas ever since. I'm from Texas, and just love talking ball. Got the chance to talk with Coach Terso a couple weeks ago, a week ago.
Yeah, I believe so. A week and a half ago, yeah.
Yeah, and just love talking ball, and so I'm glad that I got this chance because I know we got some things going on this afternoon here at my house. But great stuff from the coaches thus far, and I appreciate their sharing too, Coach Morrison, Coach Besaw. That was good stuff to combine uncovereds and RPOs where we tend to separate them for us. For us, we run the ball about 65% of the time, throw the ball about 35% of the time, and we tag both. We separate our RPOs as not just RPOs, but RPOs and uncovereds, and we teach them as 2 different things as opposed to combining them in plays and a lot of things. But what I'm going to talk about today is some run stuff. For all you pass, air raid, all that stuff, guys. Not that this is not going to be something you can use, but there tends to be a lot of those guys on here. I'm a fast-paced guy by nature. I have been for for 20 years, so I love hearing ideas about how people get the pace going. This past year, just due to depth and things that we had defensively, we went to a huddle, and I actually was the one to volunteer that, which may have put my head coach in a heart attack, but it was good for us. We needed it to happen, and so that allowed us to do some different things. Now, we went back and forth from fast to huddle and to ridiculously fast multiple times, because I think tempo is the biggest thing, changing it, not staying the same. If the defense knows you're going to be fast all the time, they can prep for being fast all the time. If they cannot anticipate when you're coming out of a huddle into fast, when going back into a huddle, or just ripping their face off, as Coach Morrison was saying, I think that's what gives people difficulty, is keeping them off of their rhythm. So what I'm going to talk about today, though, is some tackle over stuff. So I'm going to put this drawing up here, and you can see, we good? Somebody shake your head if you can see the drawing on the board, the huddle thing. Okay, great. Okay, so we are an inside zone team to begin with, because we teach a lot of concepts based off of what we do in our inside zone and how we teach it. I would say that the things that we teach in regard to inside zone are unique to us. In regard to stretch, kind of unique to us. Now, I could be wrong. There may be people teaching it that way, but I also think there's a lot of uniqueness to everybody's ways and terminology that they're using, if you're not just using generic terms. For us, we teach the inside zone as a way to teach other things as well. So there are years, for instance, last year we were a dart stretch team. The year before that, we were a power stretch team. And in past years, we've been a zone triple team from here to the end of time, but we learned zone triple first. That's where we start. And so what we've done here is 2 years ago, we ran a heavy package. So we brought in, for instance, a 6th lineman, and we put him in here. We lost the eligible guy, and we did some things with some 4 wides empty. We did some things where we had a back still in here, but we had the extra lineman. We had 7 linemen that we felt like could play, and so we could switch and pull and put guys in. So we went with that heavy type of package. So we would get our regular formations and then go heavy. And just treat him like tight end side. This year, we did not have that kind of offensive line depth-wise. We had 6, and the 6th was maybe. And so instead of being able to use our heavy package and lose all of that, we tried to come up with a way that we could use an unbalanced line without adding another lineman, and we don't have a tight end. So what we did was, at first we thought, okay, how can we get tackle over? Which would have been obviously taking this tackle if he came from here and move him over to the left, right? Which that's all great and all, and it moves a person, but for us, that changes your rules for the people that are involved, and we don't want to do that. So instead, we thought, what if we swap the guards? So essentially what we do with this, in order to get this formation, which for us would be tack left, slot right, for us to get this formation, this cat would be the guard on this side, on the right side. So he is the right guard. He shifts over to where to the left guard position, and this tackle stays here. All we've done is played a peanut game, shuffle game with these 3 cats in the interior. That means we have a left tackle and a right tackle still that are playing essentially the left tackle and the right tackle positions for us, which allows us to do everything else that we do in our offense. There's one thing that we can't do. If you take our big 4 runs, zone, stretch, power, and dart, we can run all of those both directions except for the power. And we could probably do it, but you'd be pulling a center, and that's not something he normally does. So in order for all the rules to stay the same and our guys to know what it is we're doing, we go guard over instead of tackle over. We call it tack because it's easier to call, but it's just a guard over. Now, the thing that this does is it, one, obviously shortens your edge over here, but that edge we found is not an issue because we can move and manipulate where this guy lines up. We can put our faux tight end position here. We can put him as a tight end over here, and it looks like a regular standard 1 tight end, 1 back, 11 personnel type scenario, a 20 regular personnel type scenario for the defense, but they've got to move. What I have found is most beneficial, and people don't account for this much because I'm kind of a penny pincher with regard to this, is this buys us 3 feet of space. So if we put this play on the hash we actually have 3 feet more space here to run the play than we did when we were in a traditional 5-man across, nobody over. And that makes a huge difference. You wouldn't think it does, but it makes a huge difference. So for us, when we're running the zone here, these guys are all running zone. This is what a stereotypical lineup would be if we saw an even front. Honestly, we don't get even fronts until we get to the playoffs with some different teams that have bigger boys that can do that. We have a lot of folks who play odd fronts against us. That's what they play for their defenses. They usually have a nose, and then they try to find some fast guys who can get on a pass rush on the edges. So we will read. We read, and I only color the colors because that's the order that it shows you when you click on it. So, for instance, right here, the end is our first read. Well, the red is the first color there. So we color him red, and then the second read would be blues, just because of convenience in terms of making this sheet. So our first read would be the C-gap defender. Right now it's that defensive end, but it could be anybody in this space. That's something that I'm willing to talk about later if you want, but we don't overcoach this. There were times where we used to say if he turns his shoulders, if he chases the back, if he does this or that, if he squats, we don't really mess with that too much. It's a matter of reading this C-gap defender and whether you can beat whatever shows up in that C-gap. The reason being is especially when you're facing odd fronts, this cat might be in a 4, he comes underneath and you made him the read, but they've got a linebacker and a safety or 2 linebackers out here because it's an odd front. You're reading off of that guy and they've got 2 people to take your quarterback and your pitch. And that's just not any good. So if he goes underneath the tackle, the C-gap defender would become that gap exchange linebacker. That's your read off the C-gap. If he's not chasing the back, give the football and life is good. We go off the edge. If he is chasing the back, then you're pulling the ball, and now you've only got the safety left to pitch off of, which is 2-on-1, and that's what you want. If we wanted to talk zone, I would get into it, but for right now, I want you to see the schemes, and then we can go from there in terms of whether you got questions or not. For us, we want to try to spread the field as much as possible horizontally, so all of our receivers are lined up in accordance with where the numbers are. Somewhere they're going to be proportionate to the numbers. This is great for us formationally because it gives us this space to run the option full triple into the boundary, which it doesn't allow everybody necessarily to do that, and that is helpful. So the next play out of this set or a kind of set would be, do we have questions yet? Okay, let me keep going. Good. So the next play that we would have out of this, so that would be the zone. One way that we could run it is that way. The next is we can actually get into some RPO type scenarios. So we get in a tray set. So we would go tack right, and then we'd go tray left. This is tagged wrong, but whatever. So we would go tack right, which takes the guard and moves him over here. So this is now your left guard. That's your right guard, right tackle, center, left tackle. And then we would be tray left, which tells our skill personnel what to line up in. That's our A, that's our Z, that's our X, that's our Y, that's our B. We're running the same zone that we just ran, but now that C gap gets a little bit wider because we put a tight end there, and we full triple this. Although we call it triple, really you've got 5 options on this. So I don't know if you'd call that quintuple option, but anyway, we can give this zone, we can run the football, and then, or we can throw this hitch. We don't often throw this, obviously. This is mostly becomes a runoff, but this can be, by the time we pull this ball, a hitch flat read off of this safety, depending on where those guys are going. But that would be an RPO that we can run off of this.
Is the hitch more of a pick on this play?
I'm sorry?
Is the hitch more of a pick for your tackle leaking out?
No, because we you're talking about this right here?
Yeah, because you're attacking 2 people at the same zone after the read. They're occupying the same defender.
We don't read this, so we don't. When we tag our RPO, this is the same as our cover 4, our quick game 4 route, which is a flat with a hole and a fade. But this hole route is an outside that defender route. So he doesn't go to the inside looking at this. He's going to actually go to the outside looking at this, because by the time we get there, if we were just reading this and running it out of our regular quick game, then we would read this outside backer and whether he's going to go chase the flat or sit in the hole. And that determines where we're throwing this ball. So we don't change it for this route. We've just tagged the route onto the run. And so he's going to run this outside leverage of that linebacker. For safety.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, no problem. So that would be another way that we can run this tackle over and get an RPO. We can also run this tackle over without the RPO. And with this this is kind of interesting. We did this year, and I'm not going to claim that I'm the originator of these things, but I saw Bowling Green use a tight end and a dart read with a quarterback out of an empty set 2, 3, 4 years ago in a bowl game, I thought, or maybe their conference championship game. But they put this tight end, and we did it this year some too, and they put him in pitch phase from that position. You want to throw a defensive coordinator's mind out of whack. That's one way to do it. And we might, with this cat, we might stem that guy to make him the read and go block the free safety. But anyway, we can triple it out of this, and that guy is the A for us. So he could be a tight end, he can be a H-back, he can be a slot, he can be a running back depending on what formation we're in. So he's got to be multifaceted anyway. But we did it where we could do it with this guy on this side, and it was pretty good for us. But those cats for us were guys that played linebacker as well. So we didn't have a whole lot of choice of guys that were just ours in order to be able to invest just a ton of time with them playing with their hand down. Next play out of this set. So here's one of our uncovereds, and actually it's two of them drawn up, but we would run, you can tackle over to the left, add your H to the left side. So obviously you've got numbers, or you could have an advantage numbers and gain leverage. We run the stretch back over here, and then we run some kind of concept uncovered RPO for us. We call it, we have what we call our shellfish game, which is essentially a bubble and a now screen, and one or the other. And we would just tag those onto that stretch. Those are all pre-snap reads. If they're uncovered, we're throwing the ball. It's totally the quarterback's choice. If he can explain to me why he was doing it, I'm totally good. If not, we're running the stretch, and we're stretching this whole field now by doing this. We're going horizontal by going stretch this side, by running now screen or bubble this side, and then the quarterback can pull the ball and threaten the middle. So that becomes issues for folks. And then this is the dart. So like I said before, we can run all of our plays both directions, no matter where we are, with this A on either side, and still get a read option out of it to some degree. And we read the dart. We read the outside backer on the dart versus odd fronts, and they might have this cat here and the safety off, but we're going to run the dart, traditional dart. Now, the rules that we tell our guys that make it the same is if he's a tackle, he's going to jump set this cat and get him outside. If he's a tackle, he is pulling, and those guys are both playing their positions to us. Now, the interior cats are going to run what we call zone away. So everything we do, again, coming back to the inside zone, these guys run their inside zone rules, and it puts them on the same tracks to block the people that they need to block in a dart. So their interior guys are just running zone away. Yes, these two are now combining as opposed to a center and that left guard combining, but that just takes a hair of work that you're going to work anyway based on, whoever you're going to face that week. So we're going to zone this away. We're going to pull up in here, and we're going to read again the outside backer. So it's not even the C-gap defender, because that guy's getting blocked, especially versus an odd front. We're going to read this C-gap defender, but we also have a blocker for him in this formation in particular. Now we can put this A on the other side. If we put him on the other side, he just reaches the block to this side, to the outside backer. That just gives us more security on the front side of it all. He can still read, the quarterback can still read this guy. If he falls in to be the fallback player in a CBA situation on the backside for linebackers, like if they're in an even front, then he can pull the ball and he's allowed to run. So that's the dart, that direction. Now, like I said, this A can be on either side. I think I have it on the next play, the other direction. Yeah, so we can come back to it. Oh, this is the power. I'm sorry, this is tagged wrong, but that's okay. It gets us to the same thing. So we can go tackle over to the left, leave the H on the right, just run the J with that cat, and we're still running power. Actually, this is the dart. I'm sorry, this is blocked wrong. The
about 4 minutes, Coach.
No problem. If this was an even front, it would be more of this, And so since that was the case, this tackle would block out. But the rules don't have to change with regard to that. Here we go. That's the power. We slam quick this. We don't use the term hinge because hinge opens the door, and that means that guy's going to run right by us and hit somebody in the backfield. We use the term quick slam hinge, so we're going to slam this big gap. And then slam quick, so we're going to quick set in front of pass rush on this cat to stop these defenders. That's our power, that's our stretch, that's our zone, and that is our dart in these. I've got some film. All right, so we are in tackle over to the left or guard over to the left, that slot formation to the right. This is actually a play that I didn't show, but we have it. We run the screen with this where we fake the stretch back to the field here. So we're going to run the stretch to the field. We're going to block the rocket screen like we saw just a few minutes ago over here. We're going to run the rocket screen, come back up in that J bubble. We're going to pull this guard, the left guard, who is the left guard, to the right hard to pick up the first thing that shows up off the edge. This A is going to release in the flat. Everything when we run screens, we're going to fake something that carries people this direction with the other side of the screen. So since we're pulling this guard, that tackle's going to take one step in as if he's slamming. He's going to get out. The center's going to go. So this tackle's going to take the sidewalk or the first thing off the sideline. The center's going to release flat and take the alley. The right guard or the center at this point actually is going to then flat release, and he's got the street. He's going to clean up the street. So fake the stretch, drop, ball back to the rocket, 3 linemen out. Don't do a great job of blocking that guy, but an efficient play. You can see the lineman here better on this particular instance. There's your puller. There's your 3 linemen out. Would like them to release a little flatter. That center should have smoked that safety running up or corner running up.
Do anyone account for the free safety or strong safety?
They run with the stretch.
Okay.
And we don't assign them to any particular dude. When we run screens, we run screens to a zone, sidewalk, alley, and street. So whatever 3 guys we're releasing, it could be the left tackle, left guard, and center. Could be the left tackle, and in this case, the right guard and center. But whatever 3 guys we're released, could be the center guard or guard, center guard. When we release them, the first guy releasing has got the sidewalk, which we define as the first thing off the sideline. And if he's getting blocked by this receiver, so for instance, if he's blocking the first thing off the sideline, block them both. We're sending that tackle to secure the edge of that block so that we get it. He didn't do a great job on this one, but that's what we want them to do. And then we got to release flat because otherwise our angles will not get there. If we release flat, then you pick up the second threat and the third threat off the sideline is really what the alley and the street are. But we give them those zones to look at. And honestly, when you're running screens, look, linemen are elephant on ice. They ain't going to block nobody. So we tell them to pick the inside shoulder or the upfield shoulder defender they're running at. If they get them kicked out, great. If they don't, great. As long as they stay connected with somebody, that is the secret to blocking anybody. Because if this guy knows he's being blocked and there's not defenders running around, then he can make a run. That's what he's taught to do when he's got the ball in his hand. If you are running out there, running around trying to find some guy, but you're never connected to anybody, you're in the way. You become a tackler, especially if you're a fat ass. That don't help us.
1 minute, coach.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the run stuff. I can find it on these. Oh, I know I have this in there. Doggone it. Here we go. So I know somebody particularly asked for this before we started today, and that was us running the dart. So here's an odd front. Again, you're tackled over this direction. Our slot formation that other side tended to be something that we were fairly good at. We're going to run the dart off to the right. We're reading this outside edge over here. And we're picking up 9 in the box on this just because of what they're trying to do. They're really not a zero team, but they had no answers because they didn't have great size except for that dude right there. But our tackle should be getting this guy out better. So he's going to set with his inside foot, invite him to be up the field outside and try to push him wide. He doesn't do a good job of that, so they got to squeeze it. The guard does a great job and ends up, getting 2 blocks. The tackle, the pull and tackle. He ends up getting 2 blocks because the safety's going to fill to the same space that the linebacker's filling. Bang, he gets both of them, and we have a play. The tackle, again, did not do a great job. The center did not do a great job securing the block, the inside lineman. But that's how we run the dart. We can also pull that. Okay, here's another one. Same thing in terms of dart, but we're running away from the H. We can pull this ball as well, but we don't have to. Great run by the running back. Ran it hard through the hole. And again, safety's making tackles for us means we're doing something right in the offensive line. Let me get to one more. Try to get one where he was pulling the ball, but I'm not sure if we've got it. Okay, here we go. Running the dart to the H this time. Can pull it off the backside. He does this later where that's the case and that backside outside linebacker creeps in and we actually pull the ball. And he actually pulls the ball and ends up hitting the crease on the backside almost like a midline because that linebacker had folded over. I think it had to do with formation. But Coach, I appreciate it. I know that's my time. Try to squeeze it in there. Totally available for questions and stuff. I'll type it on the chat. My contact. I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't have a Facebook channel. I got 4 kids. That's my Facebook channel. So, and all of them are 17 to 7. That's where I'm spending a lot of my time. So anyway, I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Again, Coach Ramsey, I appreciate you, man. If any of you haven't seen Coach Ramsey presented before for us, and again, the video is on the page. Coach Ramsey, I appreciate you. I really do. You're a wealth of knowledge, and I think I need to start looking at some of that unbalanced stuff myself. Especially, I never really thought too much about it. That's
Coach, can you post your email because that's awesome.
What's that now?
Can you post your email in the chat because that's awesome. The unbalanced stuff, just like Coach was saying.
I'm doing it right now. I'm gonna post it in the chat so you guys. I'm always available to talk ball. But yeah, I'll post it in there right now.
All right. Thank you. All right. So Coach Kent is up. Coach Roberts. Yep, there you are. I see Coach Roberts. Coach Roberts, you're on deck. So Coach Kent, it's all yours, sir.
All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So my name is Coach Kent. I coach at a 2A school in South Arkansas, Lafayette County. This was my first year here. My first year as the OC. When I got here last summer, we transitioned them from the flex bone to the air raid. So our first year was a big adjustment for our kids. But I'm going to be talking about jet sweep today. Here's my information if you guys need it. I'm just going to get into it. So reasons why we jet sweep or we call it Glock because we want our kids moving fast. And it's an inexpensive way to get our fast guys the ball. We only have about 2 or 3 guys that we jet because the jet for us, it's a fast hitting play. We want them guys to be rolling when they catch the ball. We don't want them slowing down. So we use our jet sweep as like an outside run. We don't run an outside zone or like pin and pull or buck sweep or toss or whatever outside runs coaches like to run in their schemes. We don't have that. So our jet sweep is our outside run play. It's kind of like a hang our hat on play with us. We're going to come into every game and run jet sweep probably 4 or 5 times. It's gonna be something we're trying to establish, and we're going to run it out of different formations and sets. If anybody here has questions, please stop me. Our philosophy with this, it's not a very expensive play as far as like teaching. We run it out of all kinds of different formations and sets. Any skill player that we have can run the jet sweep. We can get our tee the ball if we line them up at empty, or we can get any receiver the ball based on where they're lined up, if it's 2x2 or 3x1 or quads or whatever the case. We don't care the down and distance, obviously, as long as it's not 4th and long or 3rd and long. We want to run this play in any situation. We're trying to get to the edge. This is a horizontal stretch play and for guys who aren't blessed with speed, our team, we have we're extremely fast on the outside. We won 2A indoor track this year after basketball ended. We had track practice for a week, went up and won state indoor. So we have really just natural fast guys at our school. Here's how we block it in 2x2. This would just be like X jet for us. We're trying to just reach to the play side gap with our O lineman, and then our T will lead block. He's trying to get to the edge and seal the edge for the jet guy. So this is how we block it out of 2x2. This is how we would block it out of trips. We always like for our T to lead and jet for us because it helps seal the edge. We never really want to run the jet without a lead blocker to seal the edge because this linebacker can peel or will run with the jet player. Because in our league and a lot of the teams that we play, anytime we send a guy in motion, the linebackers like to flow to the motion side. So we kind of want to get an extra hat in there to seal the edge. Here it is, just out of empty. And this is a good way to get your T the ball. If he's quick, put him in empty. And that's how we do it. So how we call it, we're a signal team. We're not a wristband team. So what we do, we signal the formation, gets the kids lined up. We tag the jet player. So we'll tag the position he plays. So it could be X, H, T, Y, or Z, and we'll tag it, and then we'll send our jet signal call in. So boom, we have our formation, our player, and our jet signal. So once that's done, the QB will tell the O-line which direction we're going. So if we're going left, he has a verbal cue that tells the O-line to block in the direction. And we use a verbal cadence. Ours is just ready, set, go. So once the player's tagged with the jet, the motion's built in. So like, well, we're not going to send the guy, the skill player's not going to run at his own pace. The quarterback will motion him with a hand signal. That way it gets everything timed up. So the jet path, which is something we had a hard time with our kids understanding, our jet path in motion, we want to cut the O-line and the quarterback in half. So we want to the path of the motion will be set right in half. So wherever the quarterback is lined up, which we try to get ours at the heels at 5.5. And then from the center, we want to cut the distance in half. That way he has play in case there's a bad push pass. And we utilize the push pass. We're not going to hand it off because if it's a push pass and if that jet player drops it, it's an incomplete pass. It's not a fumble. And we do that just for practice purposes. That way we feel like it's an easier technique than handing the ball off, because I feel like when you actually hand the ball off to the jet player, that requires a little more practice time. And for us, we're trying to use that practice time for other concepts and things. Ball will be snapped as soon as the jet player reaches the outside leg of the tackle. Now, when we send our guy in motion, we want him full speed. I mean, it's a track race from wherever he's lined up. He's running. I mean, he's hauling ass. And once he gets to the outside leg of the tackle, the quarterback should snap the ball. O-line's going to perform what we call a reach block. Their aiming point is the play side nipple of the gap over defender to the play side. And the T will lead block to whatever side we're jetting. So if we're jetting to the left, the T will line up on the left side, and then he's going to lead block. Things that gives us trouble. So any B or C gap pressure has given us problems in the past. Any hole defender unblocked, we call the hole defender kind of it will be the guy over number 2 or the walked up guy or the apex defender. I know there's a lot of different terminology, but what we call a hole defender, it's the number 2 guy inside the corner. So we would consider the corner number 1. We call the hole defender the next guy inside of the corner. That way it's easy terminology for our kids. When we say hole defender, they know that's number 2 no matter where he's at. It could be an outside linebacker. It could be a backer walked out. Wherever his alignment is, he's considered the hole player. If we can't seal the edge with our T or our H back, like that sniffer guy a lot of guys has used, if we can't seal the edge with him, usually that outside guy or a defensive end will peel and get our guy, and it won't be a big play. Bad timing with the motion or snap. So there's actually a clip in here where we snapped the ball too late, and there was just bad timing. We had a B gap. It looked like it was a B or A gap blitzer made the tackle. So that the timing needs to be on bad timing. That's huge, because if we snap the ball and that motion player's not to the tackle yet, there may be a delay and it'll slow everything down, because we're trying to hit this fast. And then running into the boundary. We've ran into this issue where we've called the play going to the boundary, and it just seems like our jet guy runs out of room. Like he just hits the sideline very fast, very quick, and it tends to slow it down, and it doesn't give us as much space for him to turn upfield. Our coaching points for the quarterback. So he's always going to call the protection. We're not going to call the protection when we call the jet play. So if we're in 2x2 and we're trying to send our Y in jet, the quarterback will know based on just us teaching that he's going to call the formation. He's going to call the protection to the left. He's already going to know. And then he'll let the offensive line know that. So that way we don't have to send that call in. It reduces the amount of signals we have to send in from the sideline. And then he's got to signal the motion player with his hand. And then he's got to snap it on the outside leg of the tackle. We preach that a lot because it really times up the best for us. And then depending on that, I think it's on another slide, but your jet players are usually your fastest guys. And for us, we may have to snap it a little bit before the outside leg of the tackle based on some kids' speed, because we have some guys who's got some burners. So we may have to snap it a little bit earlier before that outside leg of the tackle landmark. It will be a forward motion, so it can be underhand or overhand. So even if it's an underhand pass and it's going forward, that's still considered a forward pass in our league. So it doesn't matter if it's underhanded or overhanded. It's going to be considered a pass. What we're trying to do with the quarterback is just give an easy catchable ball to the jet player. We don't want our QB slowing down the jet player with a bad pass. So we've had some time, and then at first when we started teaching this play, our quarterback would kind of throw it really high and would make the jet player it put him in a bind because he's got to go find the ball really high, and it kind of slowed him down. So what we want to do is just give him a nice easy pass about numbers high. That way it doesn't slow his path down at all. For the receivers, so our Z and X are our outside receivers, our number ones. They're going to block the corner. They're going to have the guy in front of him. And then because we don't really jet our Z. Our Z is kind of our possession guy. We really only jet our T, X, H, Y, and so our Y and H will block number 2 or the hole defender. So if it's in 2x2, that number 2 guy is going to have the hole defender. If he's uncovered, we're going to move to a safety, or that's going to be game plan specific. Because if our number 2 receiver is uncovered and we're jetting to that side, sometimes he'll get confused on who he's got to block. And then we always want to preach effort and coach effort, and they should block to the whistle. For our T or our H, and our H in this situation is going to be a sniffer back. It's not an outside receiver. So they must seal the edge. That's a non-negotiable. Our kids, we tell them, if we don't seal the edge, it's going to be a bad play. And we're going to be in offset alignment with our T's. And we don't really tell them, like, hey, get behind the guard, get behind the tackle. Their alignment for the running back or for our T or our H, we tell them align for best position to get your man. So there would be times where we would get in 2x2 and our T, he would get right behind the left tackle in like an H position, and we're in just regular 2x2 ace. And you can just tell the kid knows what he's doing, because he knows based on where his defender he's got to go get, he's going to go line up for best position to block. And that really makes you feel good as a coach, because when these guys understand, hey, I got to really seal this edge, they'll widen out a little bit, or their alignment it'll be a little crazy looking, but hey, if it works, it works. I'm not going to really get onto them about it. And then we should never allow a defender to cross our face inside when we're trying to seal the edge.
Coach, with what you just said, I drew it up. Sorry, guys, I'm an old school coach. Here's my screen. I always, whenever we run it, we have our H-back seal the edge or help before he cracks the linebacker. With the difficulties I had being in the league, I was just our little guy couldn't go out there and hit the D end and then get to backer. Have you ever thought of the concept of pin and pulling, or does that just not work with the jet?
So for us, we don't run pin and pull. We're a GT inside zone team last year, and we didn't have a pin and pull concept. And for our O linemen, I'm not sure if your guys are. It's going to sound bad because I'm bashing my kids, but 4 out of our 5 linemen are IEP kid. They're not the brightest, if that would make sense. Please don't feel like I'm bashing my kids, but our kids, we don't want to put a lot on them because for them it's hard to understand some type of concepts. So for us, we don't want to put too much run scheme into it. So we didn't pin and pull based on just our kids not being able to learn it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, Coach, thank you.
Yeah. So our coaching point's on the O-line. So we call it a reach block technique. We're going to attack the play side nipple and then just run with them. We're going to take their first step play side is going to be their play side foot. We call it an open bucket step. So what they're doing, they're going to try to get some depth to widen out and get their shoulder square to the sideline. And then they're going to just run as fast as they can towards the sideline with their eyes pointed to that play side nipple of their man they got to get. And then once they engage or they get in contact with the run defender, they're just going to try to run him as far as they can and as fast as they can. And our linemen know that they cannot have any B or C gap penetration. We have to let them know, because if that happens, that blows up the jet play. So the jet player should be at full speed. And at first, this was really hard for our kids to understand. They didn't understand that pre-snap you can run full speed. So what they wanted to do is they kind of wanted to add their own flavor and kind of just run their motion path kind of slow or kind of like half speed. This was a really big issue for us, and we had to get them used to running full speed, don't slow down, because part of the benefit of this play is you're getting a guy running full speed pre-snap, and the defense is they're at a standstill position. So for us, we had to get them to understand this was a big deal. So expect the ball as soon as you pass the tackle. You need to be ready to catch the ball as soon as you come in motion, and then the ball's going to be placed right in front of you. This is a unique play because a lot of kids doesn't really run this play, or at my school they haven't ran it very much. So this was very new for them. So they weren't used to coming in motion and then just catching the ball right in their stomach. This was very new. So that took a lot of coaching at first and a lot of reps. All right, and then the motion path, I've covered that before. They want to cut the distance in half, and then once it's caught, once these guys catch the ball on the jet, we tell them it's a race to the sideline. We're trying to get to the sideline and find the hole and get vertical if you see it, and then just ball security. We try to preach that. How we drill it. We're a period practice team, so we have 5 or 6 minute period increments every day, and we always just have a jet period, and it'll be for 5 minutes. And we'll just get all the skill players, and we'll line them up in whatever position they play. So if the X is an X, we'll line him up in his position, and we'll change the formation. So we'll get a snapper. It could be anybody. We'll set up 2 bags where the tackles will be. So it's a landmark for our jet players to know once they get to that bag, boom, the ball should be snapped, and they should be expecting the ball. All right, biggest issue is our jet player doesn't run full speed. Coaching point, make sure the jet guys really get into the sideline, and every position needs to be coached. So we had a lot of issues with our receivers not blocking very well this year. That's something we're going to try to focus on next year. But them guys need to hold on to their blocks as long as possible. And then once we get a rep with the ones, the number 2s need to be ready to come right in, because we're trying to practice fast and we're trying to get as many reps as we can. So those number 2s are usually a little lost, or maybe they're a little confused on what to do, but they need to be watching the number 1s whenever they do it. And then we work from just left to right, 1s and 2s. So we'll go X jet, H jet, Y, and Z. We'll just work in a line, just like reading a book. And after each player catches one, we'll change the formation. So we'll just change the look. This is kind of how we have it. So this would be a trips right formation for us. We just line our kids up. So this will be our start. So right here would be our starters. This would be all of our starters right here. And then we'd run whatever jet play we want to call. And then once they run it, all the backups will step up and run it. And then boom, we just have a continuous flow of just jets happening. This right here is the bags I was referring to. So this would be a center or a coach. For us, it's one of our coaches. He snaps the ball in a majority of our drills. and this would just be a bag right here. So that way it's a landmark for our jet players, so they know as soon as they get to this bag, they're about to catch this jet. And this is just this will be out of empty, and that's and then I have some clips for you guys, and if it's too slow, let me know. But it shouldn't be too choppy.
About 4 minutes, Cody.
Okay. Yeah, all I have is film left. So right here we have. Let me see if I can. So this would be a Z jet for us. It would be our outside receiver to the right side, and we're just going to the left. So he kind of got a little close to the quarterback. So you saw how the high pass made it kind of difficult and slowed him down a little bit. This is our scrimmage game, first game of the season. So our jet player kind of went a little close to the quarterback. He didn't cut the distance in half here. And the ball was a little high post snap. So boom, he was a little high, slowed him down a little bit. If there's any junior high coaches in here, I have about 3 or 4 junior high clips that are really good. If there's any junior high coaches in here too. Because for me, we coach 7 through 12 at our high school. So we have a junior high team and a senior high team. And guys, here's a really good this is a 4th and 4 call. So it's 4th and 4 right here. This is our first game of the season after our scrimmage, and we feel so good about jet that we're going to call it on 4th and 4, and it's a 6-yard game. And that's one of the issues when I say when we run it to the boundary, we run out of room. For that situation, we kind of ran out of room there. So here's a good clip of timing. We snapped the ball a little too late on the timing with the jet player, and it allowed some pressure up the middle for a tackle right there. So show you guys again. Does this film look all right? Is it choppy for most people, or can everybody see it pretty well?
Looks pretty good, Cody.
Yeah. So we'll kind of put it in slow motion. So he snapped the ball a little early, and it allowed that backer to come right through and make the tackle. So that goes back to when I say that inside pressure really gives us problems. So this is an issue where we were in just pistol and we didn't have a T lead, but it was still a 4-yard gain.
I imagine you do a crap ton of conditioning.
No, not at all. So here's the issue. No, did that answer your question, Coach?
Yeah, that was a yes or no question, though.
Yeah. So here's an empty set for us, and this is some issues we had. So when we got an empty, our T would be our number 3, and we found out that he really couldn't get enough speed. No, we really couldn't get enough speed in the motion path in order for him to really get any room. So what we're going to do next year, we're going to move our T out either to the number 2 or to the number 1 if we're going to jet him. That way he can kind of get some more room to run, because here he's almost coming from a standstill point. I mean, 1, 2, 3. I mean, he's not getting full speed at all. So that alignment issue with empty, I think we're going to change next year just based on watching film. Here's a good one where he kind of just cuts it upfield. This is a goal line play. Here's it out of trips. T does a good job of slowing both those edge defenders down. Really good job by the T there. He kind of got 2 guys. He blocked 2 guys with 1. He kind of knocked out 2 guys there. Slow down number 2 and slow down number 13.
Do you still call it jet, or do you call it a fly out of empty? Because I just posted yesterday about Middle Tennessee State and a whole bunch of SEC schools running that out of empty with that inside T. and because he's so slow, they'll just put him on the line and they'll motion number 2 across. Does that change your timing at all, or no?
It doesn't change the timing. For me, I don't think he's fast. I don't think he can get enough speed built up because he's too close to the line. So for us, it's just an alignment issue. I would rather have number 2 or number 1 jet because he has more room to get his speed built up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, create a bigger gap. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, because we really want that guy full speed. Like right there, Calvin right here did a really good job of really, really building speed and coming as fast as he could. He's really building speed there. I think the timing on that play was great. This is a really good defense. This team went undefeated and then lost in the playoffs. So this is a really good defensive team.
Yeah, and I don't think your tackle blocked anyone on that play.
Yeah, our O-line's not the best, guys. So here's a junior high clip. I think I put like 3 or 4 junior high clips in here if there's any junior high coaches in here. Our junior high really ran it really well, and we were just a lot more talented than most players in junior high. So this is a really good clip of just everyone doing their job. The T came out here and he's really leading, and we just got to the edge. This is almost kind of like a textbook play how you draw it up. And here's another issue. We go with our T out of empty, and you can just see the alignment. He's probably 2 yards off the tackle, so he's not going to get very much speed built up. And then our receivers, our alignment are kind of tight right here. I mean, these are a lot of 9th and 8th graders here, so this makes sense with their alignment being off.
Did you mean to go strength to the short?
Yes, we wanted to go to the field. When we jetted, we tried to go to the field as much as possible unless we just saw something to the boundary that we loved. So we always try to jet to the field because it gave our kids more room. Because this play hits to the sideline pretty fast. And if we want to go to the sideline, we kind of want to go to where there's more room. Yep, I think that's all I got. If I have any questions.
Any questions for Coach Kent? Hey, Cody, great stuff, man. I don't know about anybody else, but for some reason your film is like smooth, runs. It's not choppy. I don't. Maybe.
Yeah, who's you got for internet?
Yeah, who do you got for internet, man?
No, hey guys, whenever y'all sharing and doing video, to share your. Oh man, my Zoom is acting up.
And there she goes.
So can everybody see my screen here?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go to your share screen, when you're sharing something, go to more right here and go optimize screen share for video clip. That's going to make your huddle go so much smoother, and it looks a lot better to the other guys on Zoom.
Where is that at?
So when you share your screen, you're going to have this.
Hey Cody, we don't see your Zoom. We just see like some kind of sand dune.
Yeah, I'm looking at Ohio State right
here
now.
And just go down. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think up top, I think when you hit share screen and you go to advanced share options, maybe that's not it. Maybe I'm just talking.
I see it down here at the bottom with the little box that says optimize for full screen video clip.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
We've had this issue for like the past couple months where everything is just choppy.
All right, and Joe is muted. So with that said, Roberts, man, I apologize. I appreciate you hanging in there with us, man. So Coach Roberts, you're up, and then followed by Coach Nurnberg, and then we're going to end the evening with Coach Ernest. So,
hey, Coach.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't mean to jump in before Coach Roberts, but I've got 2 things that I was going to talk about. Can I throw up on chat what those 2 were? I don't want to waste anybody's time if they don't use H's, if they've already had enough of combo plays. If you guys, just before I get up there after Coach, just let me know which of the 2 that I throw up there y'all would help you the most or would be a waste of time. I was going to throw that up on chat real quick.
Okay. Thanks, Coach. All right, Coach Roberts, you're up, sir.
All right, man, I appreciate y'all having me. This is my first time presenting to another group of coaches. I've been having my position meeting with my kids for about the last 3 weeks now, so I'm not foreign to Zoom by any means. But, man, I really appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to come in here and talk to y'all and share some of my stuff. I've been coaching for 10 years. Last year was my second year calling an offense with a gap in between. I did a year at a school out here in Arkansas called Mills. Then I actually went and took a running back job at Texas A&M Commerce, where I really got introduced to the air raid, like full tilt. And then I came back to high school ball because I got 2 kids and a wife, and D2 don't pay that much money. So I'm getting ready to talk about, if I can share my screen real quick. Let's see. All right, y'all see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. All right, I'm getting ready to talk about my switch concept. That's all my info down at the bottom if you want to follow me. I normally try to follow everybody back on Twitter. I absolutely love Twitter. I think it's like one of the best places to get, your feel on all the football stuff. I'm actually going to show it in Playbook first, just in case my film acts up. So this is my switch concept. I'm 11 personnel base, and we will get in some 12 to get in some heavy stuff. But this was the first year we never got in 10 because I had a tight end that was just an absolute dude. He's an athlete. He's a junior. He's coming back. He can just stand there and do standing backflips. He's like that kind of kid. So, I had no real reason to take him off the field. We'd flex him out when we got in doubles and trips and stuff like that. All right, but here it is. This would be dart left is the formation, and this is our switch concept. So the first thing we teach our quarterback in our switch concept, and anytime really we have a corner route, is that's our peak route in the concept. And so what he's looking at pre-snap is the alignment of this corner. So if he's getting a soft corner, we pretty much going to just assume that he's playing some kind of quarter, some kind of third, and that the corner route won't be there. And so we're going to go straight into the progression. If we get a hard corner, press corner, then we're going to read him off the snap. So if he's down here, he's pressing, he look like he's funneling or he's playing some kind of man, then our slot receiver is the best receiver on our team. And we like that against cover 1. We like it against cover 2. We tell that dude you cannot get covered on a corner route. You got too much grass, run up on his toes, stick him, and then break high. We don't necessarily give them an aiming point like pylon and things like that, but we do try to teach them the same thing all of y'all probably say when y'all get corner routes, to leave this quarterback this grass so he can throw you down into it. If this corner bails on the snap, and our defense plays a lot of press bail quarters, a lot of press bail 3, so we get to see it a lot in practice. So it's really, it gives our quarterback a lot of reps at actually getting to see that. If that corner bails and we tell him if his shoulder's open, his dick's pointing to you, and let's get off of it right now and get into our progression. So in the progression, we're reading this outside backer, all right? This is what we call a bang post, but we don't run it like a traditional 5-step bang post. And our kids, before I got here, they didn't know a whole lot of football, so I could call anything, and it didn't conflict with anything they had learned before. And so what we tell him to do is he tempos off the ball, and then he's going to break, and he has to get behind this linebacker, this walked-up safety, whoever is playing his apex spot. He has to break behind it, and he's looking to get into this grass in the middle of the field. The slot's job is to run and try to get up on this safety toes and then break on his corner route. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to clear out this safety so we can throw the ball right in the vacated grass, all right? If this backer is, normally if he's trying to wall our slot and he sees this post coming and he levels up on it, and then we're coming right down here to the shallow up underneath it. All right, so this concept gives us a man beater to the play side. It gives us a three beater, a 4 beater. It's been really solid for us. It was the best concept we threw all year last year. If for some reason I don't like any of it, quarterback is going to spin back. We got the post stop on the backside, and then we got a check release swing out of our back. And we're a half slide team, so he's checking backer, the outside backer, or backer the corner if we're in the boundary, and then he's getting out on the swing. And so what this gives us on the backside is if we're getting straight zone, when I spin back around, it normally times up real well. It's basically just a curl flat option to the backside. So it puts a lot of pressure on defenses to have to cover a lot of different aspects in one play. And I'm gonna get to some of this film, see if I can get it to play. And that's just the look of it. If we go into the other side, the rules don't change for anybody. They're all running the same routes except the X and the Z. All right. Oh, let me get this sound off. All right. I'm gonna start off by using some clips from 7-on-7, not because it wasn't an effective play when we ran it in the games, just we had student filmers filming our games, and a lot of that film just isn't great. But in 7-on-7, I use this when I teach it to our kids because it's real easy to see the whole picture. So right now, the quarterback has to decide if this corner is soft or hard. He's standing at about 6, so honestly, we would say, man, he's probably soft. But if he likes it, he can still try to read it off the snap. That's our apex backer that we will be reading. There's the safety. That slot needs to try to run up on his toes when he breaks on the corner route, and then we'll have the drag coming underneath. And so right here, when I say tempo out, if it's pressed up, he can do a slow release. If he's off, you'll actually see him. It almost turns and it looks like he's just kind of skipping off the ball, but it works for us. And then there it is. Just got to finish on the ball. How's the film looking? Okay, awesome. All right, but you can see corner's bailing. We take the safety out of there, and every quarterback that I've ever seen can make this throw. It's almost just like throwing a slant ball. There's our drag route coming underneath. If this guy decided that he was going to drop back and try to hold that, and you see we ain't got nothing but grass when we catch this ball and turn up the sideline. So that's him going to his first read. Here's another first read throw. And that's touchdown.
Coach, is this only a 2x2 concept, or do you run it 3x1 as well? I
only run it 2x2, and the reason why I don't run it 3x1 is because normally, for us, if we add this trips receiver, normally you'll get somebody over here that's looking to wall 3, maybe a safety or anything like that. So if you get somebody that's going to wall 3, you don't have a play anymore.
Is that a snap 3x1 with the RPO with the quarterback, or is it just an instant, one step gone?
We don't run this as an RPO, so this is catch. This is 1 big, 2 smalls, and then get ready to throw it. So we wouldn't consider this a quick game concept for us. This would be a 90s, even though I don't use 92, 94. I don't use all that terminology. We kind of verbalize everything. So for us, this is switch, but it would be a 90s concept. It's not a quick game.
So kind of like a razor cutter.
Yep.
Same thing. Okay. Thank you, Coach.
No problem. And right here, quarterback did a really good job. We don't see a whole bunch of this. This is actually a team in our conference. They actually get into some 3 safety stuff. And he did a really good job IDing the corner as the apex player. So that would be the guy that we need to read right now if we're going to throw the bang or if we're going to throw the shallow cross. You see right now he's sitting on the shallow, bangs wide open, and there it is. So here we go. This is against Pulaski Academy. If anybody knows those guys, Coach never punts. Probably one of the most well-coached up teams in 5A for sure.
They got 2 4-star linebackers, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, my goodness. So right now, you can see on the snap, corner's open. I can tell he's bailing. We could have did a better job trying to get on his safety's toes. a lineman, he's probably a little just too wide off the jump. But right here, we can see him getting that. Our bang's getting walled, and the ball is gone. Poor kid, just got to catch the ball and stay on his feet.
Do you coach with the chest over toes? How you want him to explode out of that route, or do you want him not standing straight up but still accelerating forward before he looks over the middle? How do you coach that?
Which route you talking about now?
On the inside switch from your X, when he's coming over, I always tell them, hey, outside foot is when your chest goes down, so you can beat that and you have strength if he tries to jam you. Like, you want your chest because that's where your strength's at.
Exactly. Well, normally when I'm telling them about trying to beat contact, is normally, man, we always want to try to attack half a man and get skinny. With this, I mean, this kid right here, this was his second year ever playing football. He was a basketball kid. So he was 6'4", and I mean, a lot of stuff that he did on the football field was just really raw. And like I said, this is the beginning of the summer. I got hired in April. We didn't even put this concept in spring ball because we were just really trying to get all the basics taught. So we had probably been working on this route for maybe 2 weeks before we had this 7-on-7. I think he's a little too tall. He's a little too lax in the route. But against zone, when he's not getting touched, I feel like I don't want to put these kids. I ain't trying to make them robots. There's no really wrong way to do this. He's just basically trying to give this slot time to clear it out. And that kid right there that just fell, he started every game for us last year at left tackle. All right, so here we go. Right now, I know I got hard corner. There's not even a safety on this side of the field. All right, our slot has to be one of our best receivers. There's really nothing to think about right now unless this dude bails out of here and he rolls and it turns into some kind of cover 3. I want to get the ball to my slot right here on the corner. He wins, big play. And that's a ball we want to be able to win. Like I said, still real young. These guys were, the year before I got here, they were 1-9. They were 1 year removed from the wing T. So this was year 2 for the spread of them. This kid right here was another basketball kid, first year coming back to football. So I mean, we had a lot of raw talent, but we didn't have a lot of just great football players. So right here, what I would like is for him to try to get back and stack them. Or if I can't stack them, when I get ready for this break, I want to lean into him and then get a little push so I can create separation on my route. But he just beats that kid because he's a better athlete. All right, I think I put this one on to show how not to do it. Right now, his one rule is when I come on my bang, I cannot work back in front of this linebacker. All right, because I'm not giving myself an opportunity to get to this grass. And if you see right now, this safety is running with this corner. I got to work to get in this grass, and I can't do it if I'm working underneath him. And if I work over the top and he's still trying to wall me off, then that's telling my quarterback that I need to come to the shallow right now. All right. Another thing that went bad with this play that I didn't really want to point at, the corner's driving the bang, so I need to be – if the quarterback would have seen it quick enough, and this kid's a sophomore, if he sees that quick enough, then I can trigger on the corner route as well. But I think he took his eyes off of him too quick because right now he's at 5. I would consider that hard. So he should have been reading to see if that corner was bailing. With him backpedaling right there, we don't consider that a bail. I don't think he can play over the top of the corner. Now, he ends up throwing that ball to him, but it's way too late, and we just run out of room over there.
Yeah, talking about those linebackers, again, your number 2 got jammed into that route. Watch from the beginning. He got ran into his route. The linebacker did a perfect job. That's what you don't want, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's trying to avoid contact. That guy is he's just way too shallow on that. He's almost running it like a fin route, and we want that to be a post. This one right here, this kid has to understand that I'm getting pressed now. So I can't come off the ball the same way I would come off the ball when I got a soft corner. Like if this dude was a dog, he really should have put him on his butt because he's just standing playing way too high. Didn't give him a move to try to work it, and is just thinking that, I don't think he realized football was a physical sport yet. Then again, there he goes. He's going underneath the apex player, not getting to this grass, and the quarterback is two. I had two sophomore quarterbacks fighting for the starting spot. This kid that actually won the job. He should have came. There's so much wrong with this play. Our corner route, way too flat. So he's making it easy for this dude to be able to play both of them. We're running underneath right here on the switch route, so that's wrong. I put that there because this is when I was teaching that, using this to teach the kids. I'm like, look at all that grass we missed. If we getting that grass right now, this is probably touchdown. And then he ends up throwing the ball late over the middle and we get a pick. I got some game tape of it. Obviously, it never looks as good in a game as it will in practice. But there it is. All right, 12's our apex player. He kind of gets lost in no man land. And we get a big play.
So that almost turned out into like a dig, it looked like, right?
Yep. We're not settling up at all.
Okay, you want him to keep advancing?
We want him to keep running.
Okay.
We want him to keep running.
Okay.
So
What's your first read on that, coaches? Like all of you, because I tell my quarterback, hey, look at that outside, and then underneath this tight end was wide open there for a sec, but he's slow as shit. Sorry for swearing, coaches. My bad.
It's all right. Our first read right now, we know that we don't like the corner pre-snap. Our first read is this bang post, this tempo post, and then we go to shallow. And then if we don't like either of that, we come to the backside. And right here, this kid got a minus on this play because he ran this route way too shallow. But he's running basically a curl, a post stop. So he should break it 10 because we coming late. So if he runs this route too quick and this corner jumps it, now you're not open. So we want this thing to push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like we banging on a post. So 5-step, bang post, settle down, come work back.
The hips, yep.
And you see right there, he's at 6 yards. So, and the quarterback's not even ready to come back to him yet. And you see he's open, and he would have still been open here at this 10-yard range if he'd have ran the route deep enough.
So progression is post, drag, curl, dig.
Yep, it's post, shallow, curl, back.
Okay.
And I can go back to the picture if you wanna draw it up before we get out of here.
Yeah, I ran that in college, and 90 times out of 10, I would never hit that drag. I'd always hit the curl. So that was my question because I never had the balls to ask my coach, hey, is this wrong?
And so and sometimes you get this, and it's high school kids, they love chasing crossers. So right now, if these dudes are chasing crossers, that's fine. If they end up walling if they end up walling our post, when we come back, there's nobody over here to play the curl because they're all chasing the drag. And he got a minus because for some strange reason he ran a post. Here's that same team that went to that 3 high safety. And there it is. All right. If you want a shot play off of this, we never actually called this in a game, but because we never had a reason to. If you ever get like a quarters team, and they're good, they watch film and they end up trying to switch this where the corner's driving the corner and the safety's driving the post, then we call this switch and go. And so the corner, the slot receiver is running, he's breaking just like he's breaking on the corner, and then he's sticking his foot in the ground, and we don't want him to break back like a post because it's going to happen too slow. We want him to stick and get vertical and let the quarterback throw you back to the middle of the field. And what happens in this concept when on the corner, normally if he's sinking and he sees a corner coming to him, he's not going to run towards it because the route's coming at him. So he's going to sit here and wait on the corner route. And when you snap and get vertical, he's in chase mode. He's already beat. And I can show you a clip of this from when we were in Commerce. But I just never had a reason to call it in the game because I could never get a safety to jump the post. And I was always waiting. Like, one day I'm going to get a safety to try to play this post and we're going to get a touchdown. They just never did it. I mean, that's like stealing.
Got about a minute, Coach.
That was actually my last clip, so I can go back to the drawing if you need me to, so you can get that. And if anybody got any other questions about the concept, man, just let me know. But for me, for being in high school, it was I think we called it maybe 20 times in the 10 games that we had, and every clip that I could show my quarterback, I was like, hey, look, if we read it out right, he's open here, he's open here, he's open here. And I think my breakdowns came after, like, we had somebody open on the play 90% of the time. Just, other stuff happens. You get sacked, missed throws, get flushed, just normal things that happen in a normal passing game. But as far as the concept goes, man, it was so solid for us all year long.
Were you more on air repping this, or did you do it in full team?
We definitely repped it. We repped it on air on our routes on air, and then the way our head coach is actually our DC too, and so every day we would do one-on-ones and Skelly, but we combined the two together, and so it was Skelly, but the one-on-ones were happening right in front of us, and so our defense was so good, our D-line was so good that, a lot of times, man, Skelly would turn into us still getting flushed out of the pocket and stuff like that happening. But man, we didn't carry a whole bunch of 90s concepts, so we definitely got a lot of reps at this.
How much practice time would you say you put on this concept? Like weekly or daily? How much practice time do you dedicate to this concept?
I mean, we'll have routes on there every day. And I would just make sure throughout the week that every one of our concepts got hit in routes on there. So we might throw this Monday in routes on there, but then we wouldn't throw it again on Tuesday on routes on there per se, but we would definitely make sure we got it in at least 1 or 2 times in team, Skelly. And, I mean, like I said, we don't carry a bunch of concepts, so we get to throw these routes a lot, and some of them just pair up well. Like, just because we didn't throw switch today, if we threw smash, then our quarterbacks got a chance to throw corners out that day for sure. If we threw shallow, then our quarterbacks got a chance to throw the shallow route. So just because we might not have worked that concept per se, we still got to work a lot of the routes that we run. And this post curl is a staple in a lot of the backside of our concept. So they get this post curl route in our spot concept. They get it on the backside of our cross concept. So we get to throw a lot of our same routes every day, if that makes sense.
Did you ever flip it to the tight end side? Because if I did, I'd take the H and cut him down short like a tight end, just so we can hit the backside drag a little quicker. Did you ever flip that to be to the strength with the tight end, or no?
I didn't. But I can show you some clips where we completed this ball and this kid forgot to run the route. I mean, like, one of the tight ends that he was talking about, he had his IEP kids. One of my tight ends, I mean, we was hoping that this kid that ended up finishing the year off, started off as the backup. And we had another kid, he's like 6'4", like 215, and could run. And he was actually at a school in the district called Better Chances, which is like for kids that just couldn't get the job done in the regular high school, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So being able to keep a concept like that was one of our best concepts, and we would probably only throw this at max 3 times a game. So I just didn't see a issue of trying to do it out of a whole bunch of different sets, especially considering we do so much out of this set. It's not like, okay, they're in that tight end set. Let's look for this play because we do so much other stuff out of this set.
Right on, Coach Roberts. I appreciate you, man. That's yeah, I like that. I guess I got a question. How often is your quarterback getting to that post curl? Because like the concepts or the videos that I was seeing seemed like he was pretty much hitting rhythm on that concept side. But I mean, how often is he actually getting all the way like, up? That's muddy. I'm going to go backside on him.
In this concept, never.
Okay.
0 times we hit the post. We hit it. I got one clip of us hitting this ball in a 7-on-7, and we actually got to it a few times, and we call it cross, but in our Y cross, he got back to it a few times. But in this concept here, we either hit this. We actually took a shot at the peak. I think we hit the tight end twice, and any other time it was a missed throw or we were getting sacked.
Gotcha. All right. Any other questions for Coach Roberts? Coach Roberts, man. Again, man, I appreciate you you sharing. I could listen to you talk all day, man. Seriously.
Thank you.
I think we speak the same language. You know what I mean? I love it. But if again, Coach Roberts, this is going to be, you know, of course, it's being recorded. You know, feel free, you know, put some stuff down in the chat if you need to get a hold of somebody, get some contact info, man. I mean, that's a great concept. I'm not quite sure. What do you call that release that receivers do? Is that like a skip release, or is it just a tempo release, or
we call it a tempo release?
Okay.
And it doesn't look uniform all the time. It just depends on, like, if I get a press corner, you know, I can't skip out, so I don't want to tell a kid to skip release, but he knows, all right, I'm trying to tempo out, so if I get a press corner, he might take a very patient release and get the same effect. Basically, I'm just telling them, man, you got to get that slot time because we don't invert. You got to get that slot time to clear that safety out.
Hey, Coach Roberts, we ran that bang route very similar to that underneath the corner. And what we did was we stemmed him inside, pushed him about 5 yards, and then let him spike the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm. And I've been definitely looking at that as doing something like that with our switch verticals with 2 and 3 out of trips. I forgot who I saw do it.
We had so much trouble teaching the skip release, so we had to find another way to slow him down and get him into that open space.
Man, a lot of times that kid just wouldn't get pressed because when you look at him, you like, oh my God, like people were so worried about him like running by him because he was 6'4", and he caught one go ball all year long. But everybody was scared of him, like thinking that he was gonna be like this guy that could just jump over everybody's heads. Like he was that kind of athlete, but he wasn't that kind of receiver. But just
the mini Julio Jones.
Yeah, his presence kept him from getting pressed.
Nice. Very nice. Well, Coach Rod, appreciate you, my man, and I hope to have you, you know, share some stuff again with us.
Oh,
and,
for sure.
You know, again, thank you so much. Coach Nurnberg, you are up, sir, and then we're going to end with Coach Ernest, and that'll be it. So, sir, it's all yours. Whoop, I think you might be on mute, Coach. Or maybe I just don't hear you. Still don't hear you.
Hello.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I figured maybe make me wait till the end because he saw my Auburn shirt, and I know Oregon people aren't really big fans of us.
We don't want to talk about that.
But Anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging around here. I've been sitting and listening to the whole thing, and glad there's still so many around to hear the last couple of us here at the end. Everybody said that they would rather hear the double H-back stuff versus the 3x1, so that's fine. I'd rather talk about the run game stuff. Anyway, so I'm a gap scheme guy, and like a lot of you guys, it's spread, tempo, RPO, and like a lot of you guys have already brought up, if you're good enough at what you're doing, you're going to see at some point 50 man one, or some form of loaded box with man one. Unlike Coach Kent, I'm not cursed with a 4x100 track team, or I've never been anywhere I've been. And so, a lot of the answers that,
or good uniforms.
Sir?
I said, are good looking uniforms.
Right. Yeah. As the answers that you'd love to have for the man one stuff is, pitch it over their heads and, run around. I haven't always had a group of receivers that could beat the press or that could make, punish people deep. So we had to come up with other answers for what we were going to do. And some of the RPOs became some of the answers and some of the tweaks to our run game. But one thing that we got into a few years back when I was in Kentucky was using the double H package. We just called it heavy, where basically it was where we weren't, the answers either weren't pretty or we just kind of wanted to put an extra number in the backfield for us to match up with their numbers in the box. And so it ended up being a really good package for us. It's one of the things that every year I end up filing under the why didn't we use that more type thing. And, it's a goal line short yardage deal, but, we've used it to start out drives. We've used it when we needed a spark. We've used it when other answers weren't working, or sometimes when we just thought we were physically tougher than the other team. If we thought we were starting to out-condition them a little bit, if we thought they were getting tired, we'd throw the extra H back in there and just run some of these things. And, what I like about it is it's already based on other things that we do. The linemen really only have a couple blocking schemes they use in this package of plays. And it's no new or extra rules for anybody. But it's something that we rep and execute well. And I've had it with physical lines and good size, and I've done it where really didn't have big physical offensive line, but it's kind of a how many guys are in the box executing versus guys getting a little bit out of position type deal. And so when we go heavy personnel, we're just putting the extra H in. We're taking our Z receiver out, and so we're basically getting to a 3-man backfield. Our X and Y stay in the game. Alignment-wise, nothing changes for the H's. They're at their same normal alignment. 3 yards straddling the inside leg of the tackle, and like always, our tailback lines up based on the play. Do a lot of different formation stuff with this when we're in there. We either line up base look where the receivers are split. We'll line up in what we just call an overcheck, where we put them both to one side, or we'll line up with both of them to the boundary. And I like to use the overcheck in this package because we're usually in a situation where they're a loaded box. So now you get into those extra guys and we can kind of see where they're going to put them. Are they going to flip a corner? Are they going to shift a free safety? Are they going to bump out a backer? Especially if we can get them to do it to the boundary. And so all of our plays, we like to use that look to kind of figure out where we want to go with the calls. Now, as far as what we run out of it, our main play and the thing that kind of makes this whole package work is counter out of the heavy look. And the reason that we love it is it ends up being a combination of power and counter. The key to it is we call it a hat block, but we're basically putting the H and tackle on a hard downhill track to anything inside the backside backer. And when we make that hat call out of our normal gap scheme, if the linemen are hearing that they're blocking counter, the big thing it tells that tackle is I don't have to worry about a 4-eye. If I can get down inside him and that 4-eye is hanging on my back shoulder, I ain't got to worry about it. If they want to play loose and spin, he really can take a hard track down to a nose or down to a 3 or a 2 to kind of compress that edge, because what we're teaching that H-back is to jump on his outside hip And if there's any color showing, latch onto it. If the tackle swallows up the next man inside, he's going to end up climbing and sifting up to backside backer. Our backside guard's still pulling and kicking, which now he gets usually a cleaner edge, because with counter with a 50 with an odd front, you've always got that end kind of hanging off of your front side tackle. We get a lot of kill shots on stand-up backers that didn't expect to be hit. And then our backside H is running just counter. I mean, he's accounting for the extra body in the box. And so doing it that way and really repping the tight execution, with this package, we get a lot of people that like to load up the edge, and we're really trying to hit them with an gap look on it. So that's kind of the base play that makes everything tick. We do that out of this package, so we get a lot of double pinch. So we run what we call flex, which is basically just a bluff block on power and then arcing a force defender. It's our quarterback reading the end man on the line of scrimmage on a power play. And then it's just a zone pull and run for him. And again, like you'll see on all of these, our backside H is running counter. He's wrapping inside to lead for the give. Our front side H is arcing for the quarterback on the pull. We'll run that to the overset. If we get the right numbers, we'll run it short. That's what we've got here. We'll line up in it, freeze it. If they've got too many people on that side, we'll run it back away from the receivers. The H's love blocking corners that are left right there. We run our toss. I mean, it's still a read, so we've still got the read on the end. We like to double crack it, which puts our H on the corner. And then our H is wrapping up inside for the quarterback if he gets a keep look. And again, just like with flex, we'll run that away from the overcheck.
Can you go back one, Coach, so I can screenshot that, please, and thank you?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Sure. We'll run it back away from the numbers. Like I said, if we line up, we've got it called to the field or to the two receiver side. If they've shifted the guys in, we'll just check it over and run it to where we've got. It's really wherever there's only one free force defender is what we're looking for. We'll run a jet read out of this where we'll unload the tailback, run the jet read. It's the same for our outside guys. They hear double crack. It's the same play for them. It's the same play for our backside H. Our line is blocking power. So there's nothing new or revolutionary for them here. But we can get around the edge on that. If we've got an undisciplined guy here, we'll get the quarterback pull, and then he's got really a double lead up on the play side linebacker on the pull. And then the more we use it, the more we got into passing out of it because it became a run-heavy set. We like our naked out of it. And we'll actually sneak a front side H out and block up solid with the backside H. Lets our quarterback stay in the pocket. And all we lose is the backside post on naked that we've never thrown in 17 years that I've been calling it. Florida corner out of the X, bang route there. We're looking to high-low the corner. And then if everything gets covered up, you've got the Y on the under-over coming across. And we've gotten to where we RPO on these. We've gotten to where we run true play action with guys coming over the middle. So the more we use the package, the more we expanded on it. Is something that, if we're going to get a lot of, man one, if we're going to get a lot of loaded box with it, then we want to have answers.
Can you go back to that slide? Is that just the basic late flood concept to the zone?
Pretty much. I mean, it's the way that we'd run naked. Like if this was a base set, we called naked, it would be this exact route look with the H coming across and the under over route, and then a Z on a post. So you're just
the basic flood, and you're trying to key on the safety with the tailback.
Yeah. I mean, we don't. If we see that nobody's looking at this guy, we'll tell them to look to the throwback. But if we're running this, they've got a loaded box. We're seeing man. I mean, 9 times out of 10, nobody's going to count for this front side H because he's been slamming inside. They're double pinching everything. So either we get to the H or the corner drops on the H, we get the Florida corner. And then if they've covered both of those up with this look being heavy run, usually there's no one left in the middle of the field for the Y.
Yeah, and then it's a Y stop. It's a whole route. Yep.
Yeah.
I run the same thing. Yep.
Yeah. I'll kind of talk through, again, some of the rules and specifics as we go through some of the clips. Let me know if the film's skipping. I can try to do whatever y'all had on there that made it optimal. But this is tossed to the field. We're going to double crack it. We're not going to do a very good job on the crack. but we get a keep look for the quarterback. The end kind of stays wide, and so he keeps and runs up inside. You'll see here, and is it running smooth or is it skipping for y'all?
Look smooth on my end.
Okay. So here, we've got the read on that end. We've got our backside H basically blocking counter, and he's following our wrap and guard for power anyway. So we end up with a double lead up inside on this. This team was my last school where I was. We didn't have a very big offensive line or a very athletic quarterback. But, we're looking to make a guy wrong here. This is the double crack. We get the toss on this one. By rule, our H is supposed to get to the corner. But what we're telling him, though, is if we're not going to be able to crack the first overhang, he better stop and take it and let this guy deal with the corner. And so you'll see 27 here sees the overhang coming, stops and takes him. So the corner's unblocked, but we'd rather have him unblocked than that outside backer running upfield.
Are you just replacing a GT concept and you're keeping, instead of pulling the tackle, you're letting your fullback 45 come across the field?
Yeah. We didn't really run much GT. We ran a lot of counter. And so when we put this package in, we were putting together things that these guys already did. This guy already knew his perimeter rules. This guy already knows how to block counter. We didn't have to teach anything new to a guy that we didn't really do. We're heavy power counter blocking. And so it was, we just started pairing up things that we already did.
Was he inside out for you? Because out of my wing tee, I tell him to face the A gap. I'm like, hey, dude, even if it's not there, it will open up. Or do you have him more on a wide step? Because I see he shuffles right and then hits the hole. Is he just replacing your guard, or how do you coach that?
Talking about the quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a 3-step shuffle on the read. The same way we used to run power read when it was that sweep handoff. He's 3 shuffle steps on that. What we tell him if it's going to be a keep read is because he's getting out of A gap, he's got to plant that foot in the ground and kind of drive back inside to get back into A gap and on the inside hip of the wrapper. If it's a toss, he can follow it out there and get some momentum going. But like on that last one where we kept, this guy's pushing off of that outside foot when he sees that it's a keep so he can get back on the inside hip of the puller. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this one we got the toss. You'll see the read, the end down. Our H knows who the second guy is. He ends up picking him up because our crack isn't going to get to him. Okay, this is the counter play. Really what we're looking for, and you get a good look on this one, they're going to double number 23 here. You'll be able to see how tight we ask our H on the front side to be to his hip. He's literally riding him down, looking for the first color to show up so that he can seal it inside. And the big coaching point that we've run into is that guy can't look for eye candy. He can't think, okay, this guy's here, I'm going to peel off on him. Our backside guard is pulling to kick the first thing that shows. And we want our tackle and our front side H to get down inside of everybody we can. The more people they've got outside the kick block, the less people we've got to worry about. And so when you see this front side H literally riding his hip down, he's trying to squeeze in. He doesn't want to mess with 32, take the eye candy on that. We've got another guy for it. So this is a good look for us. The guard gets the kick. Our backside H gets inside out on the front side linebacker, and we've got what we want with a lot of guys in the box on this one.
Do you normally see the defensive end 17 line outside of your wing? Because I don't. I see him usually head up or inside shade.
We see a ton of different looks to this. We have teams that'll go from a 50 where they're 4 techniques to 4 eyes every other play. What we're if it's a 4, if it's a 4 eye, we're trying to beat him down inside. We want our guard to kick, the easiest thing possible. And so when we get that hat call, it doesn't really matter where the actual end is lined up because we've kind of taken that off of his plate to figure out who he is. So if 12 did a really good job here of getting on the outside hip of our tackle and our H had to take him, our guard would end up wrapping around and kicking the next thing outside of it. Here we end up getting inside of both of them.
You're looking for this to hit inside, right? Because
we want it in the A gap. Yeah. I mean, it'll get as wide as a D gap wrap on this if they play it well, but not that often. And you'll see here kind of more what you're talking about with the counter. I mean, we end up with really a kind of a tight 4-eye shade, and because our tackle's gotten the hat call, he's not worried about it. Normally on counter, if that was a 4-eye, he may try to lock up with him. With this, he's trying to beat him inside because he knows he's got 48 coming to take him off his back. And that's kind of where we've made some ground on this, is on regular counter. That guy would have given us all kinds of hell. When we do it like this out of the heavy set, we can drive him inside. It lets our guy kick a guy who does not want to be kicked by this guard. And then it gives us an extra man for their extra man in the box. And so, 69 here is trying to get inside. 48's a little bit loose, but he ends up finding the right dude and driving him inside. And then we end up with a good seam. It's a 4-yard gain, but they're playing 8 in the box every time, 9 if they can get away with it.
Do you like the release of the guard center there? I don't like how flat it is because I'd rather have it down angle. But that's just – I want to learn, Coach, because I coach the wing T. Mm-hmm. Look at your guard and your center. I love the center's angle on this. But when you're coaching this, like, hey, you got a fullback following you through the hole. You got to get going.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about the center blocking back?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So he would have gotten a gap call on this, which makes him an automatic back block. If he didn't, he's kind of squirreling out, looking for folder or run through. We stopped doubling the nose on our gap stuff because we got too much bleed over the top with it. And now I say that we had guys that could handle the nose on their own, but we found that this helped getting him out of there. So we get vertical on it, and we tell our tackle his job is to ensure the guard's block. So if there's bleed over, that's where we need him to be hard down inside on it. Center's job on this with a gap call is to get back as fast as he can so we don't get the penetration.
Yeah, it's always hard when they jam the box, but you get a good extra hat on that. And, 4 yards with, what is that, 8 and 7? Or
yeah, they had a ton of dudes.
16 people in the box? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we rep it enough against we always kind of assumed we'd get whatever they could throw at us as far as alignment. And so we just rep it a lot against a lot of trashy looks, and our guys were confident that we could execute it better than they could when they put more in the box than they were used to.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was just about to ask you. This is a 5-3 pinch with the down safety. That's what I call it. 53 pinch down safety. I'm just saying, hey, it's going to hit wide. Good luck.
Yeah, so they're not going to – this is going to be pretty good for us. They're going to have an extra guy here because we're running back to this side. But we're going to be really heavy down on this. And you'll see from the end zone, our H on the front side is going to get all the way up to number 7. This is really a good look for it because there's no clutter. There's no muddiness for the tackle and H to figure out. That tackle knows right now he's going to come down hard on 44. Our H knows he's going to get through. Our guard gets an absolute kill shot on this poor kid. And then it's going to be pretty clean. Our backside H gets hung up on trash. We'd rather him get a little depth there so he can get around. Oh, my
God. Play that back again. He kills him.
5 minutes.
How much?
5 minutes.
Oh, crap. All right, I got to get rolling. Yeah, he gets a good shot. That kid went to Vanderbilt. He was pretty good. All right,
Coach,
so
is there any way to request this as a huddle exchange?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can send you the stuff. All right, so issues we had with it. We loved counter. Everybody got really wise to the fact that whatever side the tailback was on, we were running toss. Opposite side, we were running counter. So what they started doing was playing this side wide and this side double pinch. We started just tagging split, where we were going to do a same-side handoff for counter out of this, right? What we ended up finding was that ends were playing us looser on the side the tailback lined up for. And so this took away that tendency. You'll see that the pulling guard here is not on a very good track, but because their end was expecting to have to play the toss on, We still got a pretty good crease. Nothing else changed for people's rules on it. So that's split. Same play for everybody else. Here's another split counter. Again, they were expecting toss to this side, counter to this side. We just did the same side handoff. Got a lot of room. Our guard beat up that poor kid again. It ends up working out nice in the A gap, and that's exactly where we'd like it to hit. If we could draw it up right down the hash, that's where we go.
Frame by frame from your fucking note card to the field. That's perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that one. Now we run it with the quarterback. We'll fake the jet and let the quarterback run it. That didn't work out as pretty, but it's the only clip I could find where we had it actually called as a quarterback counter. Let's see why it didn't work out real quick. I got to get to the other stuff. Come on. Oh, that's why. Our H takes the freaking eye candy. That screws everybody, right? He should be down here. We should be kicking that, wrapping inside of it. Should have been a touchdown. All right. Sorry about that. This is the jet read. So this one will have a pull. Again, it's power blocking for the offensive line. Front side H is blocking perimeter rules. Backside H is blocking counter. We get the pull read. Nobody left for the quarterback here. This was before they started calling penalties for that stuff right here. Right? You can't do that anymore.
His head was across, coach.
Get the pull read. He's waiting for the jet. All right. This is the jet read with the give. We block power so their end squeezes down. We get both cracks and the lead out there. He doesn't do very good. We didn't have to go very far. You got to be more aggressive to the corner.
Did you do that because you didn't have a fullback?
Sir?
Did you run the jet because you didn't really have a power back or a fullback near the goal line?
No. We trusted our tailbacks. They were good power runners. Our quarterback was a good power runner. You know, we did this as a throw off for their numbers. If we didn't think they respected that we could run it to the outside, or if they were fitting up well on our counter and other stuff, we'd just take it outside on them. And again, so, we're running this in the middle of the field sometimes as well. All right, flex. This is basically how much?
1 minute.
Oh, crap. All right. So this is just running power with a read on the end. See, this time we run it away from the two receiver side. We bluff the end. He squeezes down. Quarterback pulls. This time running it out of the base set and squeezes. Quarterback reads it, gets a good run out of it. Called a BS hold on us on that one. Let's see. Get past this. This is the naked. So this one, they cover the X and the H pretty well, but nobody's left in the middle of the field.
By the way, Coach, 74 has pancaked every single one of the plays you shared.
He was pretty good. If I ever get down, I look up his old highlights and just watch him eject people. So there was the naked. And then I think I got one more. This was the play action pass out of this set. People started going zero on us. They didn't on this, but we'd go max protect, play action off of the power look, and then run people over the middle. And so, like I said, the more we used it, the more we expanded on what we could do out of it. Sorry for taking too long on the early ones there. I had to try to get a little more detail on the other things in the package there. But if you've got questions about it or want to talk through it, you can always message me or email me, and I can kind of expand a little bit more. It's been a really highly successful package of plays for it. It's almost an automatic that if we get down inside the 5, we're going to it. We do our end-of-year analysis every year with our red zone percentages, and we've been 100% touchdown if we get a first down inside the 7 for years, and that's, it's all that stuff. It's just, if you fit it up well, it's tough to defend when you've got a few answers off of it.
Coach Terso and everyone else in the chat, I just want to apologize. This is the exact same concepts I run out of the wing T, so I apologize, guys. This is good stuff. Coach Nurnberg, I would love to have a video chat and learn from you and talk the same concepts that you do. I would absolutely love that. Coach Terso, I'm sorry, but I just got to take enough time away from that coach down south that I don't like.
He's still going to get the time. You know that. He's still going to get the time. It's one of these, what are they, Michigan-Ohio State rivalry guys. Coach Nurnberg, hey, man, I appreciate you again. This is the third time that I've had you come on here, and it doesn't fail, my man. I mean, you know, when you talk a certain concept and you're like, oh, man, that coach knows what he's talking about on the run game or RPO stuff, and then you come across and show that we actually ran this as well, but we call it like our Rhino package. But I tell you what, it didn't look nothing like that, and we didn't block it as well as. So I agree. I think what we're trying to do here is with this, especially with today, is that with the concepts that coaches are coming in here and presenting, and you know, if there's something that somebody's like, hey man, you know, we'd like to have Coach Nurnberg back on to discuss whatever. That's what this is about. Let's set up another time to where it's just you presenting, or you know, Coach Rob. You know, the same thing with all the coaches, because that's what this is all about. And again, third time you've helped me out, and I'm sorry that you were towards the end there, boss. You know,
I figured it's because of the Auburn shirt. I know.
Honestly,
I know 2011 still.
It's
stings
100% because of the Auburn shirt. He's just a hater, man.
Yeah. So, Michigan. Okay, that's all I can say about that. Michigan. Right? I get it. Everybody talks shit like this is the number of national championships we own. I know. I'm cool with Pac-12. You know what I mean? I'm cool with the Pac-12. But hey, Coach Nurnberg, appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Yep. And without further ado, Coach Ernest, my man, he's.
Don't you say that. Don't you say that. He's not your man.
Joe, well, I'm gonna put you in timeout. I'm gonna put you in timeout, Joe.
Yes, Coach.
All right. So, Coach, Coach Paul Ernest, if he's still around, yeah, I see him. I see him up there. Anytime you're ready, Paulie.
All right. My name's Paul Ernest. I was the former head football coach at Gentry High School in Arkansas. Was the offensive coordinator at Nashville High School in Arkansas, and I am about to take another job as an offensive coordinator at a small school. Some of the stuff we deal with, just to kind of let you know, is we were one of the smallest participant schools in the state of Arkansas. And in my time there, we made the playoffs for 3 consecutive years for the first time in school history. What I'm going to talk to you about today is something we actually it's Y corner. We call it the Scat concept, and I'll get right into it. All right, so yeah, there we go. All right, so our Scat concept, why Scat? Be run from almost any personnel group. It doesn't matter really because of how it plays out. It doesn't really matter if you're a spread team or even a wing T team. You can find a way to get to this concept and make it pretty effective. It's a great option versus most any coverage, man or zone. Doesn't require a great amount of time by your offensive line to be effective. It turns into a half-field read with full field coverage because of the quarterback's option to go one way or the other, and it can be incorporated into about any aspect of what you might be able to do with your quarterback, whether it's quick game, 5-step drop back game, sprint out, or play action. It also doesn't rely on a strong arm quarterback. We like to use it from 7th grade all the way up, and we play a team that's very good at it, Shiloh Christian University / high school in Springdale. And they run it in 3rd grade all the way up to 12th, and it looks exactly the same. They're pretty daggum good at it. And it's simple enough that, like for small schools like we are, even though we're in the middle of the classification, we play teams with 90-something kids. We only had 24 on our roster last year, and one was a girl kicker. So we have to put an emergency quarterback package together, and this is a great concept for that. Negatives, honestly, for me, there's not many. I guess the biggest thing is it's a true man 5 a true five-man protection scheme. It can be run with 6 or 7, but you do lose the full field effect. So these are the rules for the Scat concept. Number 1 receiver is running a spot route. He's going to work to the inside shoulder pad of the hold defender. And we tell him 7 yards because if we tell him 7, he usually gets about 5. When we tell him 5, he usually gets about 3. So we kind of keep extending that to get what we want. The corner route, we do give a landmark for the corner route break. It's going to be the front pylon if we're outside the 20-yard line and the back pylon if we're inside the 20-yard line. And then there's a flat route. Flat route can be whatever you're choosing. One of the big debates we have when we all get together and talk and just free talk Zooms at night is do you run a shoot route? Do you run a swing route? What about a smoke or a shallow cross? All that can be incorporated into it. For the quarterback, he's going to pick a side with the best grass, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I show that here in a minute. You got to cover 2 and 3 read side. You got to cover 3 side, and then you got to cover 4 side. The read on it is corner, spot, swing, and then the quarterback can rush or can run the football, and then some tags off of it that turn it into more of a 5-step drop. The cop is a corner post. A sluggo is a trail kind of slant post, and then you can run a return, you can run a wheel, and then you can run the scat draw if you're looking for an RPO stick draw kind of thing off of it. If thens down at the bottom, if a safety is jumping the spot, then your tags are for cop or sluggo from the backside because they're going to be rolling down. The inside linebacker is vacating to run the spot, then the scat draw RPO. If they're running some kind of zone exchange, then you want to force the exchange and run the return. And if it's man-to-man, you want to tag your wheel to your 3rd flat route. All right, so this is what it looks like just out of basic 2x2. We look over here, you got to cover 2 side. You got 3 over 2 over here. You got 3 over 3 here. So we're going to read this side right here. So to the right. So on this, as the quarterback takes his drop, it's a quick 2. It's a pop drop quick 2. He gets his eyes pre-snap. He's going to read the corner. If the corner comes flying inside right here with the scat, then he's going to lay the ball out here wherever he has to off of that pylon. Now, that break of the pylon is for the receiver. The quarterback can throw him anywhere that there's grass. So his progression is corner to the spot route to the swing. You come down here to cover 3. We're going to kind of peek pre-snap this corner route. It is not something that we really want to do because it's kind of taken away by alignment. We're going to assume, unless we've seen on film that he's really bailing the crap out of there, we're going to assume that's off, and we're going to come over here to this side and basically turn it into a slant swing kind of read for our quarterback over here on the cover 3 side to the weak side.
Do you ever see a pure cover 3, or is it more of a press man and they turn outside, not inside cover 3?
We see almost. I'd say if we see cover 3, it's more of just a standard cover 3. We see it a lot because we run the football a lot. People try to put extra guys in the box. Over here in the 3x1, it stays the same. The S and the T are still bubbling, and everybody else's routes stay the same. So it's a good, easy tempo play that you can do out of trips in either direction. You can do it at a 2x2, and then it's against cover 2 and cover 3 again. So again, against cover 2, you're going to get over here to the 3 receiver side, and against cover 3, you're going to go to the 2-man scat side. When we motion to it, is a really good way we like to run it. We motion to it, everything stays the same. The only thing that changes is when the S goes to its flat route. We don't really like to bubble off of our motion very much. We will, but we don't like to do it very much. So when he comes across, we're going to go ahead and kind of shoot him out. It's going to look like a pick. It's going to look like some of our other flat kind of mesh even. It really does marry well in quick game for things like the presentation on mesh earlier. If you look, both of those outside guys look like they're headed on their mesh path. And when we run mesh, when we run some different things, and our outside receivers run burst corners to get to that landmark. So the Z looks quite a bit like that spot route on his initial release on several of our concepts. And then down at the bottom is a sprint to trips after the motion concept. Some other motions we use to get to it. we call, well, I'll just stick with what everybody else calls it, I guess, a push motion of some sort where the T comes behind the quarterback to give us our 3-man side, and then we'll fast motion him out as well, trying to get the box to influence or get this guy to widen. 2x2 shots. These are things that you might have seen in the if-then. On the top, we have the sluggo route. And the way we explain this sluggo route is to our receivers is you're going to stack behind that corner route. And then when he breaks to the corner, you're going to run basically a slant route from that point. So he's taking kind of the grass away to stay in phase. And then when he goes to break, he takes more of a slant break. His rules for that are under the near safety, over the far safety. If there's only one safety, then you're going to read his exit. If he's downhill, then you're going to go on top of him. If he is bailing out of there, then you're going to flatten it out and come underneath him. If you look over here, look at the bottom. Again, it's the Scat concept, and this would be another example of the safety playing down over here. So we're going to read for this corner. If this corner bails into quarters and this safety flies downhill, we're going to look to tag the cop on the backside to this side over here, even though he's running a corner and it doesn't look like the bubble that he got from Scat earlier. It does look like he's the front side of Scat, and they have no idea what's going on over here anyway. So we've had a lot of success with that tag right there. All right, so if you go to install this, these are some of the individual. I'm gonna go through this pretty fast because everybody runs this. These will be some of the individual drills you need to be able to have already installed before you get to the actual installation of the play. And then a quick, that's how we run settle and noose. It's an adapted settle and noose to get the spot route taught. And then we have a short pat and go, and we have 3 phases in that. Sorry, this is my installation for the new place I'm going. So, and then our one-on-ones. The one-on-ones, we do it kind of differently. We do it like in pass scale, but there's only one active receiver that's getting the route. Everybody else is working release techniques, and they're all running the same route, how they'd run it from there, but they only run through the initial release part. And that seems to have helped us pretty well. And then we run quick routes on air, half scale, all the same stuff everybody does, full scale, blitz pickup, and that's my contact stuff. So we get to some film for you. Keep in mind, we don't have many kids, so when you see what we do, it may or may not be, I think I got to stop screen sharing to get to it. It may or may not be as good as some of the stuff that maybe you guys do, but it's what we do. So it's all we got, I guess, to go by. I had it pulled up here. Now I don't see it. All right. Can you see that right there?
Yep.
Mike, can you see that huddle?
Yes, sir. I see it.
All right. So I'm going to go down here. All right. So our Scat concept. All right, right here, this is against a 3-3 stack team. Love it against 3-3 stack. We're running it to the left right here. Now, when we talk about the whole defender, I heard Cody's deal earlier on the whole defender. And it's a good way to explain it. The way we explain the whole defender to our kids now, after having some conversations with Mike and a couple other people, is I feel fairly confident to say that this is either a man or a deep third player with a single high safety look, which is going to make him the flat. So we call the defender over the furthest inside receiver the whole defender. So what we should get here on this X spot is this guy should be coming and working to his inside shoulder pad, trying to pick all the way to there. So he's going to go over the top of him at 7 yards, get to his inside shoulder pad and work back. He's not going to do that because he only has, 3 guys behind him or something like that, and none of them can play dead in the Western, so he does his own thing a lot. And then you're going to see the corner route and the out route. So I'll play it. If it's choppy, Mike, let me know. All right, see, so he did a pretty good job of getting all the way in there. So as we're sprinting to it here, see the flat route and the sprint pulled both those guys. He settles down in the grass. He doesn't need to go back outside because there's no inside leverage thing pushing it. And he's got a pretty good catch and carry into the end zone. From the end zone shot, you'll see it here. How it kind of clears out. I mean, he's sitting there a long time. The quarterback sets his feet and throws. I guess he was worried about making a bad throw. This was the first drive of the game against our rival school. So he throws it to the shoulder. He turns the direction of the shoulder, so you get to see Neustrill, adapted Neustrill, take over right there, and then blocker downfield. That's pretty good.
Do you always pin and pull with your center against the 30 stack?
We do different things in our sprint protection. We do run pin and pull. So when we run our sprint protection, we tie it to whatever we are doing in sweep. So whatever our sweep pulls turns into what our sprint out protection is going to be. So in this game, because we were running pin and pull against this 3-3 stack, then yes, that would be how we would do that. So, yes, sir. So here we got more of a man overload look because of the 20 personnel. So you see that they're rolling down here and probably playing these guys a man free. It doesn't really matter to us, really, because we're going to pick over this guy. We just got my center right here, and somebody else just got into a little bit of an argument. So we are now at 3-37. Like I said, it's our rival school. So as we drop back right here, the quarterback tries to get it all at once. I'd say that that's kind of a cloudy read, but I wouldn't say that's because of him. I would say the spot route, my scat route did not get inside over this guy. He read this as the whole defender, and I think he's wrong. So it's going to come out, and it's going to get in the way of the corner a little bit, and they're going to be able to exchange it off. So he's covered up. If he keeps going into this grass, it's going to clear, and then for the work back out part, it'd be pretty good. He throws it up. That guy was an all-state wide receiver. He doesn't really high point it, but he does jump, and then he's pretty strong in the legs and just kind of breaks through two kids that weren't very good.
Could you argue that he was looking at the safety on that?
You probably could. You could probably argue that he's just wants to throw it to his dude on 3rd and 37 and give it a chance. Might have been as good as a punt. He's kind of that kind of kid. He's pretty smart, going to the Naval Academy, and he probably thought, hey, we're 3rd and 37. I'm going to give the deep ball a shot and see if my dude can go get it. It's man-to-man. And then here it is again out of sprint. Again, that's same dude was an all-state wide receiver right there. He does a really good job of working to the whole defender. Again, we define it as the guy outside the box, furthest guy outside first guy outside the box. So he's going to come all the way out from number 1. He's going to come try to pick this guy. If that guy vacates, then he just turns and shows his numbers. And if this guy is leveraging from inside out, he's going to work slowly away. So you're going to see a little bit of that right here. And that guy didn't even pay him any attention. So he just works with the quarterback in for a touchdown. Again, from the end zone shot, you'll see, I think the quarterback's a little bit late with the ball, but still works out pretty well. Now, one thing from the school, we don't teach it this way, but I'm thinking about it, having watched the film. Shiloh Christian spoke with their former offensive coordinator, and he told me what they teach when they're sprinting to this concept is to throw the flat unless, and that is throw whatever the flat route is unless the corner takes the flat route away, then throw the corner. Throw the flat route unless the outside linebacker takes it away, then throw the spot. I can't really bring myself to do that, but if you'll watch on these clips, it's 100% accurate. Outside linebacker took it, spot route's there, even though we don't teach it that way. All right, so here we are. We're in this is a 3-3 stack, or a 3-4, sorry, team. And so we always like to bring a tight end in to see what their tight end adjustments are. So in this case, we got their guy they prefer to be on the strong side over here on the tight end, and this guy's not really good at playing the pass. So we wanted to try to get them into trips with the tight end opposite. Right here, you'll notice the X. I don't have any idea what he's doing here. He's squeezed in, so this is technically the whole player. So he should kind of be working into this area and settling and working back out. And because like water runs the path of least resistance, he's going to end up somewhere way over here. And I don't really know why it does that. This is incomplete. You'll see that he's wide open. in the back of the end zone and is too far out of the way. So it's a bad. He's a sophomore in this clip. Hopefully he'll be better for whoever the new guy is. Here it is again. You'll see it here that if he settles right there, this guy's going to run by him, and he can begin to work. This guy right here, the tight end, should be going to the middle of the goalpost and just posting up right there. He's 6'5", so that's what he does on sprint away from him. Here it is again. He gets a matchup he likes. But to me was a bad read. But the corner did take the flat player there, so I see why he did it. He's coming out reading the corner. So
Coach, will you teach me and let me put it in my coaching Bible? On this play here, you have your 3-tech, your inside guy running a bubble, but on your other slides, you had him running a 5-yard or 5-yard back to 4-yard out. When do you call that and why? Because I know it puts the corner on an island. I'm just not sure why coaches call a bubble or an out from the inside man.
Okay, so the reason here is see this guy's eyes right here? He's keying back over to here for some reason. So I felt like this guy is playing here, and we run a lot of bubbles, fast screens, and we've run them already in this game. And this guy, when we would run bubble, this guy right here would come downhill, and this guy would come over and try to play all the way from the backside. So I was thinking that we could get the corner route on this guy from a really good outside leverage and get this guy to come downhill, but we don't get that. They both stay high, probably because it's a 4th and 10 scenario right here.
So if it's an out route with the dig, your number 2 picks the linebacker, but if it's a bubble, your number 2 is looking at the safety.
My number 2. No, number 1 is running the spot route. Number 2 is on a corner.
On the corner. Sorry, flip that. Yeah. So number 1, it just flips the number 1's assignment, and he just has to know that.
No, it doesn't switch anybody's assignment. Everything else stays exactly the same. All we're doing is
I'm wrong in pinning on the corner. You're pinning actually on the free safety.
Pinning. I'm not real certain what you're asking, but
we call it Viper pinning. We're trying to isolate one man. If you run the bubble,
we're reading the corner in this concept. It's our initial read. So we're just trying to get him to sit however we want because it's 4th and 10. We want to clean up this read, but I also felt like with the bubble that this guy was trying to come over and play so that this guy could come down and play the bubble on a bracket. So that's why we called the bubble there. And sometimes it's just to get some other grass. So you'll notice on the bubble here, look how wide open the spot route is. Now it's 4th and 10. Had we not thrown a touchdown here, I'd be pissed. But as you'll see it here, that guy's wide open. I mean, he's going to pick up the first down on 4th and 10. And the quarterback, I mean, there's no reason to throw this ball. That ball's a pick. And he just puts air under it, and my guy's better than theirs. Yay to me. All right, so this is a team. They're going to dress 90-something players, and we're going to dress 24, and one's a girl. And we get absolutely shafted. I mean, just run over by them every time we play them. So this is kind of tough. So there's some things wrong in this clip. All right, the first thing that's wrong is my number 3 receiver is supposed to be running a flat route, and we run our flat routes. We call them leverage flats. So he should be foot firing to let this clear a little bit and then immediately roll 3 to 5 yards to the flat, but instead he pushes vertical and it gives this guy a chance to kind of back up and cloudy our read for our quarterback. So that's stupid. And then the corner route here is slow coming off. He should have put this guy off and gotten on, but he didn't. And then you'll see that still the spot route, the scat route is open, and the quarterback is just late recognizing it. So his read here is the corner back pedals out. Here he goes, hips flip, so I'm off my corner route right now. And the outside linebacker took the flat route, and he's leaving a little bit early. He should sit a little bit longer in that grass, but he's right to vacate because this guy's expanding on him here. and then a bad throw by the quarterback. See it here from the end zone shot. See how wide open it actually is. And how we miss it, I don't know, but we do. Here we are. We're going to run it again. And again, what a terrible, terrible shoot route by this number 3. It's slow, it's vertical, it gets in the way, but the spot route is still open. It's just not run on the right guy, and it's crappy. So again, a lot of kids doing their own thing here. Mostly probably because it's about 42-0 at this point, I think, and they're just mad.
Would you tell them to extend that route if that backside safety is still bailing?
Probably not. Extend the route like the spot route.
Yes, sir, over the middle, because the safety bailed. So I'm like, okay.
No, I have a different. I mean, we're gonna use different concepts if the safety's bailing like that, which we did.
Yes, sir.
The sluggo concept is in this, and that's the only way we scored. We kept hitting the sluggo off this concept.
2 minutes, Paul.
All right, I'm about done. And again, here's the same thing the other side, but again, just I don't know what my receivers coach was telling those guys this week. We hadn't been doing this, and against this team this week, we just decided we were going to do something totally different. This is a great, terrible angle. Let me get to Shiloh Christian University. All right, so this is Shiloh. This is a team. We practiced it all week because they run it all week, so we got to run it a lot against these guys. So this is a great read and a great route by pretty much everybody, and ends up touchdown. But I really am just more happy with the way it all concepts out. They defend it every day, and so the corner route against this man coverage is what's going to be there. Here it is again. This is a great example of the outside receiver not working his grass. If he works his grass, the quarterback can throw him hot, but he doesn't. He kind of just runs a hitch because his guy blitzes. He doesn't know what to do. We get it fixed, and I think this is it right here. We get it fixed. His guy's going to blitz. He goes in. They still could have went a little more in, but he recognized it and went and sat down in the grass. I thought we had a push motion. So you'll see here this inside linebacker blitzes. They're playing quarter. He bails, so he sits down in the spot grass. I don't think I have anywhere we went to the 2 receiver side. Yeah, there's my quarterback. He's kind of an athletic dude. But anyway, so I don't like the spot route here. I'd like to see him post up right here on that guy. That safety kind of takes him. I'd like to see him post up a little bit more and then work away. I think he's confused a little bit by the fact that the safety jumped it down. And then we run it here, and all we did was because of how we changed the formation, it turns into regular stick. So to us, it's basically the same play. But that's it. I got more video, but it's all the same. I mean, it's just us running it, and sometimes it's complete and sometimes we suck. So we do run it out of every formation and personnel imaginable. We run it with every motion that we can, and it's good for us. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Has anybody got questions for Coach Ernest? All right. Well, hey, Paul, I appreciate you, man. You know, I get with Paul and Coach Cody a few times a week, sometimes late, because I just want them to look at something, or we got a question about something, and I think this is what this group's all about, is that it's nice to be able to jump on and get visuals instead of constant text messages, or that you don't get a chance to see somebody until maybe another coach's clinic or whatnot. But Paul, appreciate you, man, as usual. Good stuff. With that said, guys, I will get this video uploaded. It's going to be heavy, so it's probably going to take some time to get there. Has anybody got anything for me? I will leave you with this. If there's something in particular, a concept, whether it's up-tempo stuff, whether it's it doesn't have to necessarily be a spread. I mean, if you got wing T questions, things like that, let me work. Let me find people that are willing to share their knowledge and get some answers for you. So if there's nothing further, coaches, I appreciate you all showing up. I appreciate everybody who presented today. And until next time, keep your eyes open. We're gonna get something out there, and let's just keep learning from one another. So you all have a good evening.